Tonight at midnight, it is believed that Manny Diaz's contract buyout drops by an estimated $2 million. But does that mean he's going to be replaced as the University of Miami's football coach? Not so fast, depending on who you talk to. There were reports out tonight that Manny's going to be back, which is a possibility that we reported on, I guess, 8 days ago. But the drop in the buyout also means that if the University of Miami does want to make a change in its head coaching position, that it will be more comfortable doing so. We are told that decision won't be made until a new athletic director is hired. So, if that is true, then all this conjecture that we're hearing on Tuesday night is a bunch of baloney. We still think that there's a better than likely chance that there will be a change in the football head coaching job, and that beginning Saturday, that the top target will officially become Mario Cristobal. But what happens when Nike's Phil Knight walks into the room? That's the lingering question. In the meantime, we believe that Lane Kiffin is waiting on deck in almost anticipation that Miami won't be able to lure Cristobal from Oregon, and hoping that Cristobal turns down the job so he can pounce on it. And of course there's more. That athletic director search we just talked about is marching onward, and it appears to be building to a conclusion around the end of this week, or at the latest, the beginning of next week. Rumors abound about Alonzo Highsmith and Gino Terretta, but they can't both get the job, and will either really get it? Not so fast, as they say. So we're going to talk about all of this and more tonight as we embark on a new edition of CaneSport Live. Hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, and we welcome you once again to CaneSport Live. As always, it's your show. It'll be driven by your participation. The call-in number is 563-999-3550, 563-999-3550. More than 100 open phone lines, plenty of room for everybody to call in and participate. The board's lighting up. We'll try to keep things very to the point tonight. Expecting a lot of calls this evening. So hit 1 on your keypad if you want to get put in the queue. That lands you in the queue. We'll bring you on the show in the order that you land in the queue. And like I said, let's try to keep our points very on point tonight. And I'm not going to limit you to 30 seconds, but let's just try not to ramble. If you guys could cooperate, that would be an awesome thing. So the bottom line, and I could tell you that I've been working this story from 6 a.m. till midnight at least. I really like 1:30 in the morning last night, and I think I've got a fairly good handle on what's going to take place the rest of this week. But it's kind of comical looking at all the goings-on that's taking place on Twitter and how quick people are to react to it. It all can't be true. Like, it can't be true that Alonzo's getting the job and Gino's getting the job when, in fact, the search is still going on and nobody's getting the job, okay? That's number one. And it can't be true that Manny's not getting fired and that Mario's the top candidate and that Lane Kiffin is a top candidate. That's 3 different scenarios for the football coaching job. Those can't all be true either. So I just urge everybody, have patience. We're trying on our message boards to keep some semblance of common sense working and stay away from all the crazy rumors and stuff and just stay focused. I wish that the few people that are so bothered by that would stop being bothered by it. It's the best way that we can handle a volatile situation like this. But there's a feeling at the university that nothing is going to happen in football until it happens first with the athletic director. So we'll see what happens. We're staying on top of it, and we will report developments as they come forward here in the next few days. Could end by Friday, not out of the question. Saturday maybe. Got to think that Monday maybe of next week on the outside. By then you should hopefully have an athletic director, and then they can move on with all this, because it's very difficult. If Manny is staying, it's untenable to expect him to recruit in this environment. They're doing the best they can, the coaches, in managing it. It's very difficult to recruit right now with all this uncertainty. And if they are going to be dismissed, then they should be told they're going to be dismissed and be allowed to move on and not have to go through all of this with the home visits and trying to explain to parents and recruits what's happening and not really knowing and that sort of thing. We heard that Manny Diaz did have a meeting Tuesday morning with the powers that be at the university, and he was not dismissed. Does that mean anything? Don't know, but he was not dismissed after that meeting. So, but you wouldn't expect him to with the buyout going down a day later by a couple $1 million, which is, what is believed to be taking place tonight at midnight. So anyway, so much to talk about. I know it's all on your mind, so let's get right to it. The number 563-999-3550, 563-999-3550. You hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. And let's begin in the 305 tonight, where you're live on CaneSport Live. How you doing?
Hello, Gary. How you doing? You there?
Wait, you know what? Wait, give me a minute here. I am here, but for some reason my headset is not working, so I got to pull an audible here, which I will. And, all right, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
How you doing, Gary? Working some late nights, huh? You must be, huh?
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy.
Gary, I just don't see how in any situation you could bring Manny Diaz back. Now, by the way, and I think what the university is probably doing to him is probably not fair to him, but I'm not going to sit here and cry someone a river that makes $4 million a year. But I mean, if we had a great recruiting class and things were just doing great on that side of the ball, I mean, that I could see it. But I mean, you're sitting here, we have 5 or 6 commits. You bring it, he's going to be a lame duck next year. I mean, I know I'm not getting any younger, and I know you're not getting any younger. I mean, you're going to basically throw away 3 years of football by retaining him. And I do get the narrative that, you say, well, if you can't improve and you can't get Mario and you can't get, maybe even a Kiffin, what are you going to do? Maybe don't always look at, on the other side. But Gary, this isn't going to get any better. I mean, we know that. I mean, I know that that's how I feel. I don't know how you feel about it, but I mean, this is just going to, we're wasting time. How could you, what's the point of even firing, Blake James if you were even going to consider keeping Manny Diaz? That's what I just don't get. And by the way, and maybe the university has this thing totally buttoned up, and maybe on Saturday we could just be opening bottles of champagne and we're introducing Mario Cristobal as our coach, and we all know how great that would be. And I'm trying to stay off social media and all this stuff because it's just been bonkers. But I keep thinking any second I'm going to see Oregon extends Mario Cristobal for $15 million for 10 years, and then we just are, have our head between our tails, stuff like that. But I mean, I just don't. This scenario is just dragging and dragging. I mean, you see real teams like, LSU. I mean, even USC. That just kind of came out of nowhere. But look at LSU. They just pulled the trigger on a big coach. They bring him in. It's done. They're recruiting. We're sitting here, on pins and needles for weeks now. And I also, who knows what's going to happen with the athletic director. But why can't we just get a strong athletic director from another school? Why does it have to be maybe a guy from New Mexico and then Alonzo Highsmith? Why does it have to be always so difficult? Why can't it just be you have a great athletic director, let him bring in a great coach, and call it a day? Why does it have to be so many pieces always?
I'm not sure it's as complicated as it's seeming, to be honest with you. I think that it is relatively well organized behind the scenes. I mean, they have a search going on. I think they got some good candidates in that search, and they're going through the process, and it's not a simple process. That you're talking about background checks on everybody. You're talking about identifying candidates, trying to schedule interviews, things like that, and that's been going on. I know several people have reportedly interviewed. So when they get down to a final 2 or 3 candidates, that's when things can happen real fast, because you could schedule all those final interviews in one day, and then you make a decision. So I'm thinking by end of the week they could have this done, and then over the weekend turn their attention to the football situation, and by the beginning of next week be done with everything. So we'll see.
But and obviously we're just, there's a large audience here, but I mean, the Mario Cristobal situation, let's just bite it, now. I mean, you have to assume some channels between Miami and his people, there has been some contact. It's not, and by the way, I don't believe this, like Lincoln Riley just learned Sunday morning that they were interested, and they just dropped a package on them, and, all these things. Obviously, these things are in the works. Like, I mean, you could, maybe not elaborate on too much, but there's been some type of communication, correct?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, certainly at the agent level. I mean, I'm not saying that, like, for example, a Lincoln Riley would have been involved with USC directly, but his agent's probably been working on that for weeks.
Okay, all right. Just, this is like a huge. I mean, for a fan here, this is like a major deal. I mean, if they screw this up, this is blowing at least 5 years, not 10 years of our team, right? I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, they can't screw this up again. And if they said they were going to make this commitment and all this crap that I heard and blah, 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 this better be worked out right. And hopefully this is just extra stress to hopefully that we're excited sometime in the next 5 to 6 business days, and when everything's good. But all right, I don't want to take too much of your time, but that's how I felt about Manny Diaz. I mean, I see no scenario how you could bring this guy back. And like I said, I've never blamed him. I know you have never blamed him, but please just move on from it, and let's just move. Let's turn the page on to brighter days, please.
Here's what I could tell you, Shmira.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the fan base next year? Can you imagine what this offseason will be like if they announce they're going to bring him back for 1 year? Can you imagine? I mean,
yeah, it'll be ugly, no doubt. But here's what I could tell you, Shmira. Remove all the nonsense on Twitter from the equation. With people.
I don't go.
I mean, they got to be doing it to get attention, because nobody in their right mind is posting a lot of this stuff and believing it's true. Like, announcement's going to be made today, and then the next day, announcement's going to be made today, and then the same person, announcement's going to be made today the next day. Well, you keep saying that the announcement's going to be made today, and eventually you're going to be right. But, and then sources are telling me that Gino Terretta is going to be named the athletic director by tomorrow. Probably not going to happen.
Me and you both
now, I could end
know.
up being wrong. I'm not saying that I'm the absolute authority on this, but I have been working it pretty hard, and I do feel I'm relatively plugged in, and I don't think that's happening tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be a press conference announcing Gino Terretta as the athletic director tomorrow. So,
but let's think about it realistically.
We'll see what happens.
How could you ever Gino Terretta? I mean, if the guy's never even had a job at any type of level, like how could you say you want to make a commitment to football and say? Even I'm not saying that. And by the way, this is just Twitter talk. Whatever. But how that doesn't even make sense. Gino Terretta, how he's not qualified to be the athletic director of such a proud institution, or maybe they're not. But I mean, like I said, this is just that doesn't even make sense in my mind. That's why I think a lot of these things are BS. But and I hope it works out with Alonzo Highsmith. But it just adds another layer. Like, why does it have to be so many like ifs and what? Just wish it just be clean. Like, I just look at that LSU situation. The guy's a big game hunter, their AD. He went out and he got the guy he wanted because that guy's a winner. I don't love Kelly.
Well, no, he didn't.
Good, but huh?
He wanted Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln Riley turned him down and went to USC.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
But
he's
I will say this, Shmira, he recovered really fast, didn't he?
He did, and you know what? I don't love Kelly as a coach, but everywhere that guy goes, he's been a winner. And look what he's done with Notre Dame they can't bring kids in there like LSU can. I mean, that guy, he wins. He quietly wins, and he did a great job for Notre Dame. I must say that. And, I think that Lincoln Riley situation is going to work out really well for USC. Look at them. They were dead like Miami was, and, I think that's, you could call them similar to a Miami situation, and look at them. They could control out west now, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's going to kill it at USC. There's no doubt about it.
He's going to. Yeah, and by the way, it's the same way Mario would kill it here. I mean, I look at this ACC, and I just hear some of these narratives. You can look at it both ways. Me and you could be the coach of University of Miami and put a decent product on the field in the ACC. When you walk on the field, you're automatically going to be head and tail. You're going to have better athletes than anyone. So if you remotely have decent coaching that day, or just don't blow the game, you're going to win. And hence why we can go back when they played Pittsburgh and when NC State. We have better athletes than them. Miami should never be an 8-point underdog to a Pitt. I don't care what anyone says. We have better athletes. So you're going to, I don't know. This whole Manny Diaz thing just drives me absolutely nuts. It's not going anywhere. Please, I hope tomorrow we could get rid of it. I don't know what's going to happen if they do name him the coach. All right, I don't want to take too much of your time, but I appreciate all your hard work, Gary.
All right, Smira, thanks for getting us started on the show tonight. All right, 563-999-3550, 563-999-3550. You hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go now to the 941. You are live on CaneSport Live.
Hi, Gary. It's Mike Kane here.
Mikester, how are you this week?
Not too bad, not too bad. How about yourself over there?
I'm tired, man. This has been a long road here trying to cover this story.
Well, I can't say it's to blame you, dude. I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been hanging up Christmas lights on my house with my new ladder, going up and down, up and down, and up and down. I'm telling you, man, I'm tired. My legs are shot, dude, from climbing up and down that ladder all day. That's the physical stress, but I'm sure the mental stress is weighing on everybody. We're all tired of what's going on here. And I'll start off with my commentary. I'm going to keep it nice and short because I know other folks want to get on there tonight and have their say. So here we go. I'm going to say celebrating for the wrong reasons tonight. Yes, they did win. They blew out Duke as expected. So why on earth would the president's advisors go up there and celebrate a meaningless victory? Why? What for? If it was against Alabama or Georgia, Ohio State, or Michigan, great, celebrate. Close, off the course. But Duke, a 7-5 finish, nah, that's not something to celebrate about. Work on the athletic director search, and my Canes fans and brothers and sisters out there, have some patience, okay? I trust Gary. I don't trust the social media. I don't trust the rumors. Don't believe rumors out there. Just go and back up Gary, man. He knows what he's talking about, okay? But at the same time, keep in mind the clock is ticking. Get a great athletic director, but do it soon. Recruits are getting a little antsy here. They're not sure what's happening with the coaching situation. And I guess I will leave it at that with my commentary for tonight. Let some other folks get on. I got to finish hanging up my Christmas lights for tonight.
All right, Mikester. Well, thank you for being part of the show, as always.
You bet.
There was a little bit of a subdued commentary tonight, though. You subdued. What's wrong, man?
Oh, you're still. Oh, I didn't know you.
Yeah,
had
you're
me.
still on. I want to you're really mellowed out tonight. Like, what's up?
Yeah, I'm mellowed out. Well, like I said, I'm tired. I'm tired like you are. I'm tired like you are tonight, man. But you know what? Well, we just got to have a little patience. I've been reading the blog. I've been reading the threads. I've been reading what everybody's saying. Oh, there's it's going to be an announcement today. Nope, there's going to be an announcement tomorrow. Nope, there's going to be an announcement on Friday. Nope, there's going to be an announcement on Saturday. Nope. Just got to wait it out, guys. Just got to wait it out, Kings Nation. We've got to, just have a little patience. Have a little patience, and somebody will come along. Those guys, they're doing a thorough search, and we'll just leave it at that, And that's all I got to say for tonight.
All right, Mikester, thank you for being part of the show. All right, 563-999-3550, 563-999-3550 is the number. You hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go out to the 845. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Yeah, Gary, how you doing? I'm not going to be subdued.
When are you ever, Greg?
Okay. All right. Remember I told you that the whole defensive staff was going to get axed last year, right? Nobody believed it. Okay, I'm telling you right now, Mario is a done deal. Okay?
Yep.
It's a done deal.
I won't dispute that. I think there's a good chance it's a done deal, but I do respect the fact that Phil Knight has not had his say yet.
Okay. All right. Let me just go over a few quick things here. Why in God's name would they send Manny Diaz in-house to talk to these recruits? Please explain that to me. If Mario's coming on board, is he going to get a chance to talk to these recruits in-house?
You know, Greg, that's a hard thing to explain. They clearly want the optics of hiring an athletic director and letting the athletic director make the decisions on football. Whether that's in actuality really taking place or not, I think that's the optic that they want.
Okay. You and Matt this morning were saying that Manny was preaching that nobody transfers out of Miami. 10 players have transferred this year. What is he talking about? He's a snake oil stand. 10 players. Okay? Okay, now, Mario, do you think he's worthy of the same salary as Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley?
No, and I don't think he will command that. And I don't think that he would hold a gun to Miami's head in that regard, because just as important to Mario would be the money for the infrastructure of the program and to fund all the things that he's going to want to do as head coach.
Well, okay. My point is, Mario, he's done a great job. I'll give him credit for that, but he's not as accomplished as those other two guys. They've been to the playoffs. So all I'm going to tell
Mario's
you is,
going to come in probably somewhere. A week ago, I would have said 6 to 7. Now I would say 8 to 9.
Okay, I hope he gets as much as he can and be good.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I don't think it's all about that. I think obviously he's a guy that's going to want to be paid fairly, but that guy wants to win championships more than anything. And I think much more important to Mario would be that Miami is fully committed to the program and to fund the things it needs to fund to allow the football program to succeed at the highest level. And I think they are committed to that.
Okay, my last quick point. What the hell qualifications does Gino Terretta have to be athletic director?
He doesn't.
I know
I like Gino, obviously. I've known him a long time. But he doesn't have the qualifications to be athletic director, certainly from the traditional sense. You would have to be wanting to go way outside the box to do something like that.
Okay, if he was named athletic director, you think he'd bring Alonzo in?
Can't answer that.
I'd much rather have Alonzo than Gino Terretta.
Well, Alonzo's probably more qualified because of his experience in the National Football League.
Not even close. All right, I'll let you go. I know a lot of people want to get on. Remember, I told you it's a done deal.
Yeah, I'm not disputing it, Greg. My assessment is the same as yours right now.
All right, have a good one. I hope
Thanks for being part of the show. 563-999-3550. Hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go to the 770. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Gary, what's going on? It's Steven in Atlanta.
Steve? What's up, Steve? How you doing this week?
I think I done got about 700 more gray hairs on my head just in the last 2 or 3 days. But you know who I seen this weekend? I was in Miami this weekend to a funeral. One of my good friends who I grew up with had a heart attack and passed away last week. So they buried him Saturday. And I seen Gilbert Price and Dad. You know, we grew up together in Coconut Grove. And he talking about how we used to run him home off the park because we was a little older than him. But I got to talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can sense he wanted no parts of saying anything negative about the South. And me and him go way back as childhood friends. We walking out to the gravesite to our friend who we grew up with, you know, no good from the Grove. And he's like, you know, he's just walking, and I'm saying stuff, and I'm like, he ain't like, you know, he ain't getting into that. And that's the problem with Miami. Nobody wants to tell the truth about what's going on out there. I listen to 790 all the time. I listen to 560 on my phone. And it's like everybody's scared to tell the truth about the program. Nobody can say nothing negative about Manny. Like he's the big bad wolf out of Mars. He's going to put a hit out of him. The guy sucks. You know what I'm saying? He had his opportunity to hire coaches when he got there. I'm pretty sure they was going to back him all the way to the bank. If he would have asked, they would have gave it to him. He did what he did. And he could have hired coaches to make him look good. You know what I'm saying? He could have put people around him to cover up for what he lacked, but he didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
The ship has sailed on this dude, man. We got to move forward. Everybody, look, Gary, we got Florida State in a position right now to where it looks like they're going to keep their coach. We don't know how good he's going to be, but as far as we know, he was a dumpster fire. Can he change? You know, can he do the right thing and hire some people to help him? Yes. But right now, as it goes, we probably cannot recruit him just by putting a great staff together and bringing in the right people. Florida, the same thing. Billy Napier, he's not, I don't know where he's from, but that name don't ring a bell like Mario.
No, it doesn't move a needle for sure.
Like Lane Kiffin in the state of Florida. So it's a big opportunity to smash these clowns who has been dominating us in recruiting for years. And everybody's worried about recruiting, and all I can tell them, you know, if Miami do the right thing, you ain't got to worry about these kids, because once they go down, they ain't even got to visit. These kids already know they can see the change in Miami is serious. About if Miami bringing the right people, just watch what happens in recruiting. Nobody wants to play for a dud coach. You know, they gave Manny a shot at the beginning, but just like they did Randy Shannon, even got a shot when he was there. Al Golden. Mark Rick started out recruiting good. But once you show these kids around there and their parents who you are, they ain't going to waste no time with you. You know, and Manny he ain't. It's time to move on. And it's a perfect opportunity to put Florida in Florida State in the position that we was in recruiting. With the right hire, with the right AD, they bring in Alonzo. I don't see everybody's on that list. See nobody on that list that you guys been throwing around in this outside. That's the problem with Miami. You got these people who don't care nothing about the school and who probably root for the school to lose. They on the radios down there. You got Florida grads on the radio down there. You got all these different people, these implants down there talking about what needs to go on at Miami. And they're a bunch of damn liars because all they doing is saying, you know, stuff that's going to keep us bounded. It's shackled. Anybody who's saying we need to go outside and not hire Alonzo, they know Alonzo the best man for the job if they ain't for Miami. That's the bottom line. These folks who's talking this crazy talk, talking about Manny Diaz has been got right, they don't love Miami football. You feel me?
I think Alonzo's got a great chance to land in the athletic department. I'm not sure it'll be as the athletic director. We'll see.
But if he's not, that's just because here's the thing, Gary. I don't know if he'll take the job, but if he do, he just loves the school that much. But he shouldn't be second fiddle to nobody. He did more than anybody.
Except for one thing, Steve. He does not have administrative experience to that degree.
Gary, look, man, we don't know what kind of experience he got. How you know that? How you know what he's capable of doing?
Steve,
he might not.
I've known Alonzo since he's 18 years old, dude. Come on. I mean, I know what experience he has. I think Alonzo is fantastic. I think he would be a extremely high-impact guy inside that building.
So
I'm just
tell
saying
me what would he have to do, though?
His lack of experience as an administrator is probably going to keep him from winning the AD battle.
What has he been? Well, if that's the case, that means the school is still full of shit. Because Manny had no experience. They gave him the job. What they call him had a little experience, and they gave him the job. And this outside of stuff they're talking about doing is just hypocrisy. That dude would be the best man for the job, probably, in any other little things he need to do. You can put somebody under him to handle that other shit. If you ask me, put somebody under him to handle all the other little fundraising and all that other. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind, But why he got to be the second?
I mean, if he got the AD job, of course there would be people underneath him that could do all that stuff.
Look, he's going to be the biggest asset, so why would he be under? He will be a bigger deal than the AD, but he will be making the AD look good. I think
there's a chance he lands in the department.
But anyway, Miami's going to Miami. You know what I'm saying? They going to Miami, and that's they got all these other schools making moves because Miami fired their AD, and it triggered an avalanche.
Steve, there's nothing that says you have to be first. Like, you could still be effective without being first. I think we got to give them a chance to work through it.
No, I'm just saying, no. They're going to do whatever they do. Look, man. All they doing is stressing me the hell out, and that's what they're good at. They do what they do. I have no control, but all I can do is call you once a week or every other week and vent. I ain't got no control. And whatever goes down, going to go down. But I can tell you right now, Mario Alonzo will be the best bet to get this program to where it needs to be and where it was at. Maybe. Ain't nothing guaranteed. They have to make the right move. And you guys were talking about Mario's salary. I just hope he would leave him enough money to hire conditioner coach.
He will.
Coaches that will get these guys, because these guys are too small, man. They're too small, and they're not strong enough. And I just hope they, bring in good assistants. And because I was going to call, I was about to throw a hand grenade in there tonight, but you came in with the right attitude, and I appreciate that. And keeping it real will get you a long way. All right, good night.
All right, Steve, thanks for calling in. You say keeping it real. I mean, I legitimately, and I've been saying this over and over every day on the message boards, I legitimately feel good about what I'm seeing. I think the process is fine. I think that they're doing a thorough job of exploring the positives and minuses of the athletic department. I think that they're doing a thorough search for an athletic director. And I think they've done a sufficient job on the side of exploring potential coaching avenues so that they can make a decision between keeping Manny or going for a new face. And that's all you can ask, is that they're thorough. And I think they're being thorough. And will the new athletic director really be the decision maker on this? I'm not totally convinced of that, but I think they would like to have the optics go in that direction. So, we'll see what happens. All right, 563-999-3550, 563-999-3550. You hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go now to the 305. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, Gary. How are you this evening?
Hey, what's up, Adam? How you doing tonight?
Good. I don't know if you read the report by Matt Zenit saying that Manny Diaz, the administration, was leaning towards bringing him back. Where did that come from? Because why would, and this is just
I think
optics.
it's coming from Manny and the coaches who are telling everybody that they think they're going to be back. Okay.
Because it would seem weird for a new AD to want to keep him because you're cutting the AD's power at the knees, and what AD would want to be tethered with a coach with a losing record?
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
And also, like, you look at USC hiring Lincoln Riley. Why can't we be like USC? We're in a big professional city. We play like they do. They play at the Coliseum. We play a pro player. We're both private schools. Why can't we be like that and attract a coach like that outside of the AD? We're exactly like USC except on opposite coasts.
Yeah, I think you could make that argument. Miami certainly has that type of potential to be an elite program. My guess is they didn't try to get Lincoln Riley. USC did.
No, but I meant a coach of that caliber. Not exactly Lincoln Riley, but a coach that's well-known of that caliber.
I mean, if they end up with Mario Cristobal or Lane Kiffin, I mean, maybe it's not quite what Lincoln Riley's done the last few years, but it's not that different, right?
No, it's not, and then it would be a success, but I just don't understand how this administration can bring Manny back. Because then you're looking at him as a lame duck next year, and that's when I saw rivals say that he's going to get a fourth year. This was earlier, and then the coaching carousel, his name is like along.
Adam, you're always paying too much attention to what everybody's saying. I mean, everyone's giving opinions right now, and very few people have a foundation for their opinions, quite honestly.
Okay. No, I mean, obviously it's nerve-wracking, and the call before me
you would
was
agree with me that most people are going to be wrong, right?
Yeah, 95% of them. But that's why I was shocked to even see that report that Miami was leaning towards him without actually having an AD in place. Because it would have made sense.
That's what the coaching staff is telling people. That's what they're telling recruits. That's what they're telling their friends. That's what they're telling anybody that's asking that they expect to be back. So that's why would filter back to a reporter who would put out a report like that.
Okay, but what else would they say? I mean, until Miami announces that Manny's coming back definitively, I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but that's why I was shocked to see it.
I agree, but there is a faction at the university that is a proponent of that. So that can't be disrespected.
No, I'm not disrespecting it, but it would seem like you're cutting an AD, and then if Manny doesn't win the Coastal next year, he's gone. Because then you're killing yourself going 3-5 years. And then you fired the AD for what reason?
Right.
If football's the major moneymaker at the university, and it is, then you can't just have an untethered and have Manny as a lame duck and then not recruit for 2 recruiting cycles.
Here's what I'll tell you, Adam. For them to emerge from this process with everybody feeling good about it, they have to have these optics that they are hiring an athletic director and they are empowering that athletic director to make the decision. Whether it's a wink-wink decision, whether it's predisposed, has been pre-discussed, whatever it is, the public optics of this situation so that everybody's comfortable with it and happy at the end of the day need to be that the AD is in charge, I think.
Oh, okay. And a couple things like on recruiting. I mean, obviously we only have 8 recruits, and I think the Senate announces on the 4th. Is there any chance we get them?
Who are you asking about?
The kid from Central, Wesley Vicente or whatever.
I don't think it's looking great. I think that Florida State is probably the leader there, but we'll see.
And is it because our coaching situation's so up in the air?
I don't think it helped,
And
but I think that kid's always been a Florida State first situation.
Okay, and then I saw that Terrence Lewis and Brandon Jennings' brother entered the portal. Any chance we can bring them back? Because we need linebackers.
I would say highly unlikely on Jennings. On Lewis, it'll depend on the decision the head coach makes. You know, he had a lot of issues coming out of high school, and the fact that he's in the transfer portal is not necessarily a notch in his favor.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for taking my call, Gary. Have a great rest of the show.
All right, Adam. Thanks for being part of it as always. 563-999-3550, 563-999-3550. Hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go to the 213. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, Gary, it's Peter. I'm back.
What's up, Peter? Welcome back.
Hey, good to be here. I get what you're saying now. I was very, very, very skeptical of the front office people at USC. I was very, very skeptical of, and still kind of am till it's done, of the shot callers at Miami. The chairman of the board of trustees at SC's fraternity brother of my dad's from back when they were in school, and some of the guys, not my pop, but we're in Caruso's suite for the USC-UCLA game, which would have been like 8 days before the announcement. And Caruso played it close to the vest, but another member of the board was there and kind of didn't say anything about who or anything about anything even close to that, but said, it's going to be huge, and it's been done for a while. Just, you're going to be really happy. So that had at least been done for a few weeks prior to the announcement there. So hopefully something like this is happening here, I hope.
We're going to find out.
That we are.
And
I
I personally think that that's the direction it's going, but they got to get to the finish line.
I've never seen anything like this, and even that I can read about before my time in college football, where you have, of the top maybe 5 programs historically of all time, 2 of them, while they were doing very well, just walked away from those programs to go to other schools. It's nuts to me. And I get why LSU and USC had to make early fires to get in the game. I don't know if they were necessarily headhunting that. I want that guy specifically. It seems like Miami's in a different position.
The same guy.
Yeah, but I don't think that that situation necessarily mirrors like Miami's situation with Lane and Mario, where they can wait because
Lane's the only one right now in the Mario game. I think Mario's agent shut everything else down.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like Lane has a preference, or at least a defined interest in coming to Miami to some degree.
Definitely does.
So they
100%.
Yeah, so there's and Lane, like, he was on the Pete Carroll staff, back in the day for all those years.
Yep.
He was one of their lights out recruiters. I mean, big time. That was my age group. So a lot of my friends who were athletes who went to SC to play, who went other places, he was like Dog the Bounty Hunter without the weird hair and fat wife. I mean, when they sent him out to get somebody, he got him. Like, he was very, very good. I think he's very underrated in that regard, if that happens.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think that right now, if they get to that point, it's Mario number 1, Lane number 2. And I think Lane is sitting there in Oxford hoping that Mario turns it down and that he can swoop in and get it.
I would be fine either way. Just tell me, just lie to me so I can sleep tonight just a little bit. There won't be a situation where you have, as a backup plan, Lane knocking on the door and the new AD or the school refusing to answer it because they're keeping Manny. That's please tell me that's not really viable.
Peter. I would be very surprised if it plays out that way. But there are reports tonight that Manny's coming back, and I know for a fact I reported it a week ago Monday, 8 days ago, that there are factions at the university that have told Manny Diaz he'll be back and that he expects to be back.
They didn't say for how long. Maybe they meant like he'll be back tomorrow.
Well, he hasn't left yet.
True. Yeah, I don't want to hold everything up. I think that
I'll give you guys another tidbit. I heard that Rhett Lashley tried to take Garen Justice with him to SMU, and that Garen Justice put that on hold and said no because he thinks they're coming back at Miami, and he wants to stay at Miami.
Oh my God.
So we'll see. Everything can't be. It's not all going to happen. Somebody's going to be disappointed.
Sure. I just hope it's the Manny Diaz Sr. local government contract cronies who are disappointed.
Well, I can assure you that Senior is working very hard behind the scenes trying to make this happen politically.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't know the nature of all that, even in the slightest. It's very disappointing because it just doesn't seem.
Well, don't be disappointed till you see the end. You know, don't be disappointed about.
Yeah,
all
I'm not
rumors.
disappointed for sure. I mean, I'm saying that. I'm just saying the fact that, like, to me, if you're in a position where you're on the board, you're doing very well in life. You should be on the board to give something back. You have, be kind of hokey about it. You have like a fiduciary responsibility to the university. If that can be corrupted by some sort of outside political ties that have to do with your personal or professional life, that is disappointing to me. If there's traction to that, even to a degree that's not large enough to succeed and win the day, it's just disappointing to me from a people perspective,
Yeah, my advice would be just to stay level for now. Let it all play out. I have a hard time imagining the University of Miami looking this fan base in the eye and saying we're staying status quo after all of this, after firing the athletic director, after going through this exercise for the last week that's continuing through this week. I mean, I have a hard time seeing the end game being, okay, we've decided to stay status quo. But we'll see.
But we beat Duke, Gary. We beat Duke.
Don't be a smart ass, Peter.
Thank you
You're
very much for the time. Maybe a tad. Maybe just a tad. But
all right, man.
thanks
You got
for the
anything else for us tonight?
No. I'll let the rest of the guys do their thing. It's been some great calls so far. I always enjoy listening to them all.
All right, man. Thank you for being part of the show. As always. Let's go to the 706. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, Gary. What's going on? It's your boy, Sebastian.
What's up, Sebastian? You are my boy, man.
We had a good dialogue last time. We were talking about the players that on defense when Mary heard that went to the NFL and stuff like that. That was a good dialogue. I got some good news, Gary. I was actually in Raleigh, and I actually watched the Hurricane win a game in 2.5 years, the first time.
Good for you, man.
After seeing them lose to Alabama and LSU and Virginia and Duke, 2 years ago I was in Raleigh when I saw them lose against Duke with Jaron Williams. We had no offensive line. I think they had like 12 sacks. It was good to see them win. It was good to see the energy, the way the guys played. I mean, they really, really look good. And Colin Van Dyke, he really, really looks impressive. I mean, you watch him during the game, I wonder what it's going to look like with, Garcia and Van Dyke and stuff like that. But it really looks good. So, Gary, what I want to talk to you tonight is the reality of the fact is we have a coach that's coached 3 years, and the average is 7-5. Okay? Duke fired their coach because he didn't win any games in the ACC. Duke being an average 75 team every year, that coach probably keeps his job. But for Miami, that's just not who we are. You know, if we're not a top 25, top 20 team, top 15, we really, really have to look ourselves really hard in the mirror. I don't think Manny's a bad coach, you know, but I don't know if we have 4 more years to give him to get us to that level.
Oh, my God, no.
If you look at all the changes, you understand what I'm saying? What I mean by that is,
you don't have 4 more years. So, listen, the problem that Manny has is that he doesn't move the needle. He can't recruit well enough to move the needle. He can't coach well enough to move the needle. And if you can't move the needle, you can't separate from the pack.
Exactly. And, you know, I guess what I'm saying is our brand of football and our program is not designed to be a 7-5, 8-4 team. We're just not built that way. And college football really doesn't need us to be that way as well. That's like saying I can deal with Oklahoma being a 7-5, 8-4 team. They're not going to do that. They'll make the changes that they need to make and go forward. We have a golden opportunity here. Mario can say no. And that's the thing that I wanted us to be prepared for. At the end of the day, it may not be about Miami. It may be he says no. All we have to do is we have to put our best foot forward, like we're going to get, you know, Nick Saban. We're going to get the best, absolute best college football coach out there for our program, and I believe that's Mario. But he can say no. You know?
Yeah.
Will he? We don't know that. You know
but
what
if
I mean?
it gets that far
no.
and he says no, then I think it could go to Lane.
Yeah, I think it can go to Lane. But if we go to Lane, we're still sending the message that we are just not a 7-5, 8-4 program. You know, like I told you last week, the reality of the fact of it is, if we're a fourth and 14th, and a couple of inches to being a 9-3 football team, you don't fire a coach that's 9-3. Does that make sense? You know,
I would agree with that.
You don't fire Manny Diaz after he wins 6 games, 8 games, 9 games. You can't fire him. You know what I mean?
Okay, but here's the bottom line. You played 8 ACC games, right? And 7 of the 8 could have gone either way.
Right.
So that's win some, lose some. And, yeah, you know, maybe you win one more than you lose or whatever, but that's win some, lose some. And that's where this program's been. And the only way that changes, you have to be able to separate.
And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And that's the hard call that they're going to have to make. But they could be doing everything they possibly do, and he could say no. And if they do, I still think they need to move in a different direction, because even what I saw on the field, I'm like, as soon as I walked in the stadium, the guy's taking a kickback for a touchdown. That's our second one this year.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say that again. That's our second kickoff return this year. We can't be a program that do that.
I think there's so few kickoffs returned in college football that it's hard sometimes for the kickoff team to be really good at what it's doing. They don't get enough full-speed work at it. You don't get full-speed work in practice. Everything's walked through. And now you get into a game, and you hardly ever have to defend the kick because they're usually all downed. And now all of a sudden you are having to defend one, and you might not be great at it.
But Gary, let me just disagree with you. I saw what our kickoff coverage looked like. I mean, who's that number 37? He's like 5'5". Starting on the kickoff team. I mean, no disrespect to him, but I'm like, why? We have most of the folks on our kickoff teams are like safeties, wide receivers, cornerbacks. We used to have D linemen. I mean, Elijah Roberts used to play on it. We used to have linebackers on it. You know, I'm like, there's just so much.
They love to use walk-ons on the kickoff team. This has been going on for several years now.
I don't know, Gary. I don't know. We used to have some athletes. Sean Taylor.
I agree,
on the kickoff.
But I'm just telling you, 37 is a walk-on.
Gary, I'm gonna say it again. Sean Taylor started on the kickoff team before he became an All-American.
No doubt.
He all started on the kickoff team. We need to get back to that level of being able to do that. So here's my thing. We have about 4 more days to find out which direction we're going to go in. You know, I think we should know something. We should know something Friday night, Saturday morning. If Manny's still the coach Saturday morning, he's the coach. I mean, we just got to just really, really get with it. As we look at recruiting and we get ready to the early signing period or whatnot, which top 4-star, 5-star you think we really, really have a shot at with everything that's going on?
Are you saying that they have a chance to get?
Yeah, we have a chance to get.
I don't think the door's shut with Shamar Stewart. I don't think the door's shut with Nigel E. Kelly.
You think the Saint is gone?
I think he's going to Florida State, but I wouldn't be shocked if he announced for Miami.
Okay. Gary, when are you talked on Matt this morning, you talked about how you and Matt going to be screaming. When will you get to that point where you realize that we screwed it up? What day, when is going to be the time when you realize we blew this one? When is that going to be? Is that going to be Friday? Is that going to be Saturday? When is that going to happen?
Let's just see how it plays out. I don't want to be gloom and doom here. I still think it's going in a good direction, and until I see otherwise, I'm going to feel that way.
Well, anyway, man, you have a good show. I finally got a chance to see the Canes win. I'm really happy for all the seniors. I really want us to win our bowl game. I mean, more than anything, I would love for us to be able to end up 8-5. But if nothing else, I just want us to be able to see us win our bowl game. Do you think our chances are pretty good? Looks like we're going to the Sun or the Pinstripes. Because I don't know if Rambo's going to play in that bowl game.
I've heard both.
Going to be out of it.
I've also heard the Holiday Bowl. I mean, the Holiday Bowl in San Diego sent a rep all the way to Duke to attend the Miami game on Saturday. That's not a bowl game that's not seriously thinking that it wants Miami. Because why would you send somebody from San Diego to Durham, North Carolina, if you're not serious?
Yeah. Well, it'd be a good game.
Put some money on the Holiday Bowl.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, Gary, you working
all right,
overtime. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being part of the show. We'll talk to you next week. Let's go to 917. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hello?
Yep, that's you.
Hey, what's up, Gary? BK Hurricane.
What's up, BK? How you doing this week?
I'm all right, man. How's everything? How's it going with you? How was your Thanksgiving?
Plugging away, man. Anxious to see what happens here.
Yeah, that's good. Gary, the more and more, I think about this thing, it just seems like they're doing Manny a disservice here. If they're really just going to just cut him loose, then just, you got to at least tell them. But then
if they're going to do it, they should do it tomorrow. I agree with you.
Right, they need to do it. There's, like you said, there's a little faction saying they told Manny he could come back, and, they probably have him believing that, and he probably went and told the coaches. So then now, even if Manny does come back, you're hiring a lame duck coach. Who's going to come?
Well, here's the thing. If they have to satisfy everybody, then they have to play this thing out, let the new AD be hired, and then it's the new AD's decision to let Manny go. And nobody can argue with that at that point. That's why you're hiring the guy. And I think that's why, this is it's political, man. It shouldn't be. Right. It sucks, but it's political.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, everybody's not agreeing on something like this.
Yeah, like somebody's going to be let down.
Correct.
Somebody's going to be let down, and they'll
There's
have
three
to get
scenarios. There's Manny stays, there's Mario gets hired, and the third would be that it goes to a search. And maybe ends with Lane.
Right.
And there's support for all three of those.
Yeah. That's incredible that there's support for Manny coming back. It's partially due because of who his dad is and things of that nature, but he's done absolutely nothing to earn, more time.
Well, but here's the thing. At a university, there's usually people that don't care about athletics. And if you're talking about spending $15, $20 million, there's going to be people that are going to balk at that, and they're going to say we could build a building for that. We could fund cancer research for that. There's so many things that we could do with that $15-20 million that's going to buy out coaches. I'm not saying where I stand on it. I understand both sides of it. Like, I understand the business side of it too, and how important that the image of Miami and that the brand is to the entire university, including how much money that they can raise for the hospital and things like that. So it's important, and this is a business decision at the end of the day. But I do understand where some of these people that have built half the university might be balking at the school spending money like that.
But they're going to have
again,
to
for the people that want to get mad at me, I'm not saying I agree. I'm saying I understand.
No,
I don't have to agree to hear a viewpoint and be able to rationalize it.
But why not spend the money now when it's cheap? Because tomorrow's price is going to be a lot more than today's price.
I don't know about that. There's not that many guys that can command this kind of money. The reason that the price has gone up the way it has is because there's so few guys that can command it.
But, Gary, that's not true either, because Mel Tucker didn't deserve what he got.
At Michigan State. If they lost Mel Tucker, they're nowhere. They're back hiring jacks. And they didn't want to go there. And Mel Tucker, at the end of the day, might be a jack, too. They don't know. But they know that he did a good job this year, and they're willing to make a bet on him going forward. If they didn't do that, they would have lost him.
But that's going to be happening all across college football. Liberty
but there's not that many guys that have that kind of leverage.
But, Gary, it's not a matter. You don't have to be that guy. You just have to be that guy to your school. You just have to be valuable to the school. Like, for example, Mario's not the best possible coach we could hire, but he's the best fit for the University of Miami. He is our guy. Right. So Mel Tucker was, it's all about value to you. Hugh Freeze was worth $50 million to Liberty. Franklin was worth another 75, 85, whatever the hell it is he got. But are they worth that much on the open market? No, but they're worth that much to the universities that they're at.
Right.
So these guys are setting the price. And the price is an inflated price. It's an inflated price. And that eventually is going to have a trickle-down effect. So now once these guys that shouldn't be getting paid, like Mark Stoops, another guy, he just got a huge freaking extension. Is he worth what? Is he worth what they're paying him? No. But that's the market price right now. I don't want to pay $200 for a side of meat at Costco, but that's the price. I got to pay it. So if you're in University of Miami, pay it now, because if you got to pay it tomorrow, it's going to be more. Prices never come down. The prices are only going to go up for coaches, unless you're taking a chance on some FCS guy that has a high-powered offense at North Dakota State or something like that, and you're taking a shot on him. But if you're taking anybody that had any form of experience at the FBS level, big Power 5 school, the price is $6 million, $7, $8 million now. No more of that $3-4 million nonsense that I can see that's the appeal of keeping Manny, because you don't have to give him a raise.
What do you do if you're Miami? You're not going to pay Manny $8 million.
No, you don't. Where's he going to go? Where's Manny going to go?
I know.
Manny has no takers. At least Franklin had takers. Tucker had takers. Manny has no takers. You could keep Manny on the cheap. Where's he going? He has no leverage. What is he going to say? I'm going to North Dakota? They'll tell him to go. They'll show him the door. They might even buy him the plane ticket. Manny has no leverage. That's the only reason why I think we could keep Manny, because we could keep him on the cheap at the $3-point-something million and hope that he makes something of himself. And then, we'll give him those slow increments where we could avoid paying the $9 million, which is probably what it's going to take to get, Mario in here.
I still think there's going to be a change, but I think they have to appease the fiscally responsible side of the university, and they have to go through this AD search, and they have to have the optics that the AD is making the call. That's my read on it. from an outside looking in lens right now?
Well, regardless of how they slice it, they're going to have to pay, and the price is going to, and everybody's going to be upset about the price. But you got to pay to play. You know, you got to pay to play. If you don't want to play, just get off the field. But if you want to play, this is the price.
Right.
This is the price. So University of Miami has to just step up, make a decision, and do what they got to do. Now, when you see all these other teams, LSU, making big moves the way they made, it's because they had good ADs working. They had a plan. Listen, if we don't get this guy, we're getting this guy. If we don't get this guy, we're getting this guy. They have a plan. It's like, okay, next. This is what happens when you have a good AD. What USC did, what LSU did, they made the move because they were playing chess. They saw all these pieces just fall into place, and they just moved the next chess piece. Okay, Lincoln Riley didn't come. Who's next? Brian Kelly. Guess what? Brian Kelly came.
Until I'm proven wrong, BK, I'm going to tell you that Miami's playing chess too.
Well, I hope so. No
I
one is
believe
doubting
they
it,
are.
but the optics are saying otherwise. Like, to just drag Manny along like this is
But wouldn't you have said the same thing at USC before yesterday? What's going on? We've been looking for a coach for 2 months, and we have nobody. Nobody had a clue Lincoln Riley was getting ready to jump in the boat.
I didn't say that about USC because USC
but
is USC.
But you would have. They were no plays.
Right, they were playing chess, but they didn't keep a coach on the team, and rumors coming out that there's a possibility he may stay. That's the difference. At least the fan base knew that they were working on something, and they were eventually going to work on something big, and they hit big. They hit big. It's not like they kept Helton around, and everybody's wondering, hey, is he leaving? Is he going? What are they doing? Why are they playing around? Helton was gone. They knew USC was working on something. And go figure, there it was. It just took some time, but they got the guy that they wanted. They got that guy to not go to LSU. And I wouldn't be
Great
surprised.
job by them.
You know,
hats off
great
to
job.
USC.
So I'm just waiting for the Chip Kelly, Chip to drop now because he's a big time coach, and I'm pretty sure he's not happy at UCLA. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to come calling. The OU job is open. There's going to be a couple more jobs opening before this whole thing is said and done. But we'll see. But Gary, as always, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
All right, BK, thank you for being part of the show. 563-9993-550, 563-9993-550. Hit 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go to the 865 now. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, Gary, what's up? It's James from Tennessee.
What's up, James? How you doing this week?
Oh, doing good, bud. You have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, how about you?
Oh, had a great one, brother. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Listen, I wanted to ask you something. What now? What now, brother?
I said I'm still trying to lose the weight, but yeah.
I know, me too. Me too. It's so damn good, but it's worth it to spend time with the family and eat without all the craziness going on in the world. But anyway, brother, I had a question for you, okay? Because, it seems like here we are on the anniversary of 3 years ago with what occurred in that parking lot between Blake James and Diaz. And I guess my question to you is, if that had not happened, okay, obviously Manny goes to Temple, and I'm going somewhere with this, so just give me a quick minute just to add, because I really want your opinion on this. And I know that there's a lot of factors and so forth, but with like a gun to your head to answer this question, if Manny had gone to Temple, would he still be the coach at Temple? And let's say Miami had gotten Mario 3 years ago. Where would Miami be right now as a program, considering everything else played out the way that it did with these other teams, in terms of Clemson having kind of a down year this year? Would Miami be in the ACC championship game this year, in your opinion?
I'll say 100%. I'll say they would have been in it last year, too. I mean, you're talking about a guy that at Oregon, in the middle of damn nowhere in the Pacific Northwest, in a COVID year when nobody could even visit campuses, recruited the top player from 9 different states. Now, you take a guy that can do that and you put him at Miami with all the talent in South Florida and you bring it all together, I think that answers the question.
Exactly. And that's my point, Gary. They can. Obviously they can. Look what they've done before. The proof is in the pudding. Look what they've done before. And I want to give the benefit of the doubt that they are playing chess. I hope to God they're playing chess. And the reason why is because there's an opportunity right now to take over the ACC. And hear me out. And maybe everybody else will think I'm crazy, but I think OU's going to do anything they can to get Brent Venables away from Clemson. Now, if he's a career guy like a Bud Foster and he's happy there, good for him. But he cut his teeth there at Oklahoma, and they always said that the defenses haven't been the same since he left. And I guess my point is, more than anything, if they bring him back, that's another chink in Dabo's armor right there. I mean, he's losing another dude that's kind of masqueraded a lot of the things. I'm not saying he's not a great coach. I'm not saying that. But I feel that they're starting to feel the attrition of losing the assistant. Saban hasn't felt that yet because he still gets the top guys, but I feel that Clemson's feeling that right now. And my point is that Miami's got an opportunity with this hire and make the right hire. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm an LSU fan right now, I ain't happy with that hire. You paid $15 million for that? I mean, not that I'm not trying to criticize Brian Kelly, and I don't know what the factors were at Notre Dame and so forth. I mean, they're damn lucky that they even had him, that he's done what he's done over there. But I just don't feel he's a fit for LSU, and I sure as hell would think Miami would never pay $15 million for a guy like that if they even had the money to throw around. There's so many names even in the NFL that you could have gotten for that amount of money. Tell me I'm wrong, Gary.
No, I don't think you're wrong at all. I think you're right on everything you're saying.
And that's the point. Like you've got to make this hire right. I mean, look at Virginia Tech's hire. No disrespect to that guy, and now there's even some talk that people were talking about how now Penn State's going to live to regret paying what they did James Franklin, because apparently this guy Virginia Tech hired has been his right hand man and made his defenses look good at Penn State and Vanderbilt. And now it's like, what are they going to look like without him? But that's my point. I know it's Virginia Tech, but I was expecting a little bit more of a splash hire than what they did at this point, hiring a defensive guy like that.
I personally would have kept Justin Fuente over that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, 6 years ago, if you remember, Fuente was one of the hottest names.
Over a guy who's been a head coach for, 7-8 years now and had success from time to time?
Yes.
I wouldn't have made that
and he was the hottest
that.
name 6 years ago. He was the hottest name 6 years ago, Fuente was. Him and Tom Herman. Now they're both unemployed. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. Maybe they made wrong decisions and things didn't translate from where they were at. And truth be told, I can't speak for Herman. I think that he would have done fine still at Houston or whatever. But going to Texas and there was pressures there. That was the issue right there. But that's beyond the point. But back to Miami, I just feel, Gary, that I just hope to God they can keep him. But why keep him at this point? I mean, I'm glad that the guys did great there at the end, and I was thrilled for Van Dyke and the freshmen, and I was happy for Rambo and Harley to get the records that they've gotten. But my point is that what could we have done if all these guys had been contributing from the start? And, you got kind of lucky. You caught fire with it. And I know that that's part of the thing of the luck and the goal. But at the same time, it's so disappointing to know what this season could have been, considering when you look across the ACC, we lost 3 games, Gary, by a combined 8 points. And one of which was to our main rival. And the sad part is we still finished second in the division in the Coastal. That's terrible. Like that's awful to think about when you're looking at probably 4th or 5th in another division of the Power 5 conferences at that record. And I just don't want to continue to be mediocre. This could be a home run hire, whether it's Mario, who I want it to be, and even if we have to settle for Lane, what a name to settle for, that it's Lane at that point. And he wants the job, and he wants to do something great.
Maybe he would
now,
win, maybe he wouldn't, but it would be exciting as hell to watch, right?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would, and he would love it. He's got. I mean, they're two different guys if you think about it. Mario's much more serious. He still gets his point across, but he's. I mean, I'm looking at it like this, and I'm not going to compare it to these two guys, but I talked to Melvin Bratton last week, and basically Melvin Bratton told me the difference of the staffs between the gentlemen, because he played under two staffs. With Howard, it was very stoic. He was respected. He walked in. That's what you're going to get with Mario. Okay, that type of authoritarian type of dude. No business, yep. Butch Davis type of guy. With Lane, it's going to be like Jimmy Johnson, a younger Jimmy Johnson type of thing, you know, and but you can't go wrong with either of the two guys. That's the thing. Here's the sad part, like you've mentioned before, you could have had each of these two guys 3 years ago, and look where you're at right now. You're laughing at everybody else, and you're just making sure that you don't lose these guys to somebody else at this point, NFL or what have you. Now, a quick question, Gary, because I know some other people got to get on. I thought that was really telling what you said about how Rhett was going to try to take Guerin with him. I thought he was going to take Likens, and he still might. But my question to you is,
I'm not sure
who
that Likens
stays?
and Lashley are as tight as people want to think they are.
They're not? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay,
I don't know that they are, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Likens,
now,
if Manny sticks,
go ahead.
Is going to try to get the OC job.
Exactly. Okay.
So
well, and I guess my question to you is this. If let's say, I mean, there's so many factors, and you probably would better be answering this question next Tuesday. I think you'd have a better answer for me than now, because there's so much still to kind of shovel through. Who would be calling the plays on the offensive side of the ball, regardless if Manny stays or is fired for the bowl game? Just curious.
I think it'll be Likens for sure for the bowl game. But going into next year, if Manny sticks, he's going to have a tough decision to make there, because he has said he wants to keep the system. He said, we have a offensive system now at the University of Miami. It's a spread offense, and I think that he is going to be inclined to keep that exact same system, and that means that he would be inclined to make Likens the offensive coordinator.
Wow. Okay. And we talked about this last year. We talked about this if Red had taken a job last year, that Likens could possibly be the offensive coordinator. If Manny, obviously last year they had a better record and Manny was going to stick around. So that could come to fruition if Manny sticks around. I guess my other question is, if Manny does stick around, whoever the AD is, and if they're really serious about committing to football here, who could you really get to be the position coaches, or if you make upgrades all throughout the coaching staff, that really is like a one-year rental? Because I'm really seeing almost like a 2005, 2006 thing when Coker got rid of some pretty serious assistants and brought in guys, and then everybody was gone and shown the door for the most part that following year when he was let go. And that we're still feeling the effects of that, I feel, that type of a decision.
Yeah.
I mean, so
I guess would be the offensive coordinator that if it's an import.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would throw out a name like Major Applewhite, but we don't really know.
Yeah, we don't. And I guess the last question I've got for you, Gary, I hope to God that anybody that is really, and I know it has to really depend on the hire and if Manny sticks around, but realistically, guys like Zion Nelson and anybody that's even on the fence of going to the NFL or thinks that they're going to get drafted, there's no harm in coming back. Honestly, they could be a part of something special next year. And by special, I mean, I think the league is going to be so down next year, even more so, especially on our side. And I don't know how many more years Mac Brown's got over at North Carolina, but I'm not really impressed with anybody else. Duke's looking for a new guy. We saw who Virginia Tech hired. Broncos Bronco, and, Pitt Narduzzi's not a bad coach, but, they're going to take a step back losing all these 6-year seniors. So my question is that this is an opportunity for Miami, one way or the other, to at least finally win this sorry conference and maybe take a next step. But it all starts at the top, and that's the most important thing right now. And hopefully we do get the answers in the next 96 or, however many hours in the front of us. So. Yeah.
All right, James. Thank you for
Appreciate
being part
you,
of the
brother.
show, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you next time. Let's go to the 904. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, how you doing, Gary?
Doing great. Who's this?
Yeah, this 240 from the message board.
Hey, what's up, man? What you got for us?
All right. Yeah, I was just thinking as I was listening to the guys speak, it's just best for them to go. We've lost Lashley. And when you look at Miami from a 2022 standpoint, when you lose Lashley, you lose 35 points a game. And now when you look at the defense that he runs, he's not going to be able to stop anybody, because we're already looking at the fact that just on the defensive side on the ball, he need to bring in about 8 kids. You already need 2 defensive tackles that needs to come in, transfer in. You need 2 defensive ends that needs to come in, transfer in. You need 2 linebackers. And you need 2 cornerbacks as well. Some may say, well, you only need 1 corner, but I think we need 2. So when I'm looking at this guy, just on the defensive side of the ball, you need 8 guys. But based on this team, this coach has been here 4 years, and he needs like 13, 14 transfers just for us to put a decent team on the field in 2022. If he don't get these transfers in, forget about recruiting, because those guys making up or may not. But we need guys that can start for us or play for us immediately. If we don't get this 2022 season, we might as well get a new coach and just start over, because we don't have an offensive coordinator. And Miami, just like Florida State too, Gary, Florida State and Miami, they've always gotten off on the cheap with coaches. Even when Bobby Bowden was at Florida State, they always got off on the cheap. They never paid Bobby. Bobby never asked for anything from Florida State. Never asked for anything.
He lived in a simple house in Tallahassee. He didn't really have a lot of expensive tastes and needs. And, yeah, they never had to pay him big. You're right.
They never paid. They gave Jimbo a little bit. Won a national championship, gave him a little bit. But after that, they wouldn't give him nothing else. Miami and Florida State have always gotten off on the cheap. Great players was always the substitution for okay coaching at Miami and at Florida State. We can't do it anymore. When we played against Appalachian State, and this was mind-boggling for me, the 3 fastest players on the field was on Appalachian State team. The guy that ran the kickoff back, number 11, and the other fastest guy on the field was number 2 that plays on the other side of number 11. The fastest players on the field, because I think our running back wasn't playing at the time. He was still suspended. But the fastest players on the field at Appalachian State, when we played them, they had the 3 fastest players on the field. We got to get better at speed. We got to get better at so many things. And I think that we need to just change places, just change. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm in mind, Gary. When Diaz was at, I think it was Texas, when he got ran out, and everybody always say, we should have fired. I think we should have fired him somewhere mid-season. Now, what the coach at Texas did, he fired him the second game of the season. They won the first game. But the second game of the season when they played BYU, I think Tyson Chandler, the quarterback at New Orleans right now, was the quarterback over there at BYU. They ran for over 300, 400 yards. And one of the things that I've always seen about the defensive front that we run, we cannot stop the run. We can't stop it. We can't stop it. He got fired. The man put him out of Texas. I'm talking about the second game of the year. The coach said, that's enough. That's enough. That's it. Because we can't stop it. So what I'm saying, Gary, is that anytime we play physical team, Wisconsin twice, Alabama, it doesn't matter who it is. If they are physical, we won't win because we do not have the defense. Can't even compete against anybody any good. We just can't. We can't compete against anything with physicality, and so that's why I'm saying we just need to just cut bases with Manny. Manny is a good guy, but by the same time, the defense that he runs, when he ran it over there at Mississippi State, the issue that the head coach was having with him over there, the middle of the field is wide open. So what I'm saying is that if the defensive tackles and if the defensive end does not get to the football, the defense is fried. It's gone. That's it. So you have to have a strong front four. I don't care whether or not you got average linebackers. I don't care whether or not you got average DBs. If you have a front four that can get to the quarterback, his defense works. If you do not have a front four that can get to the quarterback, his defense will not work. And Miami just doesn't have that. So my thing is that we should cut ties. We got to get we have the money to get Mario. They've stacked the chips. But what people have to understand, what Miami is doing, is that they have to understand that grandma has went up under the pillow, and she's got the money that we need. Nobody knew we had it. She's got the money, but they just can't give it. They have to see things. They have to watch things. They have to see this. This is the kicker. They have to see whether or not Phil Knight over there at Nike is going to dump stocks in this man's lap. If he dumped this stock in this man's lap, he ain't leaving.
Yeah, people keep asking me, why don't I go from 80% to 100% on my prediction on Mario? It's because of Phil Knight.
Phil Knight is getting ready to dump some stock. I'm not saying it's going to be a good percentage. It's going to exceed the money that Miami can give him and Oregon at the same time.
Yeah, and Miami's not going to get in a bidding war like that. I don't believe they will.
And no, Miami can't afford to. But what I'm saying is this: if Miami want to give him $8 million, Oregon $10 million, the stock that he want to dump in Mario's lap, it'll be worth just that much. Both programs, just to keep him there. He has it like that, and so that's what I'm thinking. We're going to have to fight against. So we got to hope that he loves his mother so much that he wants to be around his sick mother. That's the only thing that Miami have in their corner.
I think it's beyond that. You know, he's got kids that are growing up without their family around. You know, they're starting to get into their teenage years now. If they come home, the kids can go to where he and his brother went to high school. I think he feels comfortable in his ability to recruit down here. I think Mario knows if he comes to Miami, he's going to take this program into the top 10 very quickly.
He got to come home. He got to get home. We need him home because what's going on
we'll see if they
Miami
can close,
right now
man. They'll have a chance this weekend.
Yes, what's going on with Miami, right now with Manny. Manny just doesn't have the defensive front, to help this program. Thank you, Gary, for the call.
All right, man. Thank you for being part of the show. All right, let me start attacking some of these questions that were submitted on the message boards at CaneSport.com. Given the last 15 years, how can the old guard have any credibility regarding football if the school is serious about getting back to the top tier? I think you have to understand there are people that don't care. As much as all of us care about sports and football, I think that there's a lot of people that don't. And they come at it from a different point of view. And I don't think they can be disrespected. I mean, these are the people that have built the university. They've built the hospital. They've built the business school. They've donated for cancer research and things like that. And they think those things are a lot more important than athletics. And everybody listening to the show for sure doesn't agree with them. But that doesn't mean the president's office can disrespect them. And they have to feel like their voice is being heard. And this entire process has to be handled in a way that everybody feels it was equitable at the end of the day. And I think that that's what Rudy Fernandez is doing here with Jose Echeverria and the other people involved. And I think they're doing a pretty good job of it. The ACC Coastal Division is wide open in 2022 with Pickett, Howell, and Armstrong all gone. The emergence of TBD, is Miami winning the Coastal regardless of who the coach is? Man, that's a tough question because we don't know who everybody's going to pick up in the transfer portal. I can't tell you I've studied who their up-and-coming quarterbacks are to this point. I think that it would depend on what Manny Diaz was able to pick up in the portal. I mean, obviously, the offense should be pretty decent next year with TVD. I'm not convinced the defense is better. So we'll see. More than likely you're back in win some, lose some mode because I don't think the O-line's going to be better either. And I can't sit here and say that they're going to necessarily definitely win the Coastal, regardless of who the coach is. That would be my answer to that one. All right, 563-999-3550, 563-999-3550. You hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go to the 504. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Yeah, what's up, man? It's Roland from New Orleans.
What's up, Roland? How you doing this week?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing good.
You know what? With Mario, just Mario alone, paying him $9 million, the offensive line is going to be a hell of a lot better. Would you agree with me on that?
Should.
Say that again? It's kind of echo.
Yeah, I would say it should. It should be better. I mean, he's one of the best O-line coaches in the country.
Correct. So that's a plus one. Second, the relationships in South Florida. Also, you just mentioned earlier that he was able to get 9 recruits, top recruits, all across the country. That's true. That's a huge bonus. When you agree on that.
Wait, say it again.
Remember, you said that he was able to, at Oregon, get 9 players across the country from different states. You know what I'm saying? To come in
the
and
top
play
player
at
in 9 different
Oregon.
states. Yes, he was able to do that.
9 different states. 9 different states. When you look at Manny Diaz, what are they even touching states?
No, they're not getting the top player in any states, including Florida.
In any state.
Although, wait, I take that back. You know, some people would have said that Leonard Taylor or James Williams last year were the top player in Florida. But they're not going outside of Florida and being competitive for top players. It's a whole different level of recruiting.
Totally. And then who do you trust from a transfer portal assessing players and bringing players in? Mario Cristobal or Manny Diaz? Because when you look at the D-line, I mean, they give a lot of freshmen. You got a hell of a lot of freshmen. But just like the gentleman spoke earlier, man, we need depth on D-line. We need depth at corner. I'm still not 100% sold on receiver. They utilize them tight end. It's a lot of different places within the team and that needs to be assessed. And I personally believe that Manny Diaz is just not the guy for that. And with Mario, man, he brings that to the table. So my question is, they play on Friday, correct? So
yep, Friday night.
When do you think this whole thing will be wrapped up with the AD and have a coach? Will it be? You think it'll be done by?
I would
Monday?
like to think by the end of the weekend.
By the end of the weekend.
That would be my prediction right now.
Okay. And if you had to do a prediction on a scale of 1 to 10 of Mario coming to University of Miami, what do you feel right now?
I'm sticking with 8.
Okay. And if Mario doesn't come in, what's your prediction with Lane Kiffin?
If they fire Manny, my prediction would be that Lane would be the next guy up.
But I'm saying somehow or another, let's just say Phil Knight throws a crazy amount of money and number of shares of stock of Nike and some Mario can't refuse, and then they bring the new AD in. They got to go with Lane Kiffin over.
Yeah, I think he'd be next up, and I think he's counting on that. From what I hear, he's just sitting there in Oxford right now waiting. He's got his popcorn machine humming morning, afternoon, and night. He's just chowing down on some popcorn and waiting for all the shoes to drop.
And just looking at the defense, man. Can you say one game this year? I mean, it's in 2 or 3 years that you could actually say you've seen the improvement from with leadership, tackling. It's been repetitive constantly. Why do people think from the higher up it's going to be anything different than what you've been seeing?
I don't believe they can think that. I think they just have to appease the people that don't want to see the University of Miami spend the kind of money that they're going to have to spend. You're talking about
that kind of money.
$8 million a year for a football coach after you've spent $15-20 million to get them into town. It's a lot of money, and some people are puking at that a little bit. So they got to work through all that.
How much revenue will a football team bring in when they start winning, going into bowls?
I don't have an accounting statement on that.
Gotcha. I got you.
But I do think that a good athletic director would come in and make the money back very quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, just put me on hold, and I'll be curious to see what happens on next week. And I'll definitely call in on Tuesday.
All right, thanks for being part of the show. Another question from the message boards. Could you see Miami giving Mario a 10-year, $100 million deal? I think it's more likely to be $8 million a year, regardless of how many years it ends up being, than $10 million a year. Because I think that one of the main considerations of a Mario Cristobal to Miami situation would be that there are ample funds available for all of the things that you need in a football program, the fund recruiting and staffing and things like that. And I think that would be equally important to Mario Cristobal. Let's go to the 786. You're live on CaneSport Live.
G-Man.
Yes, sir.
What's happening? It's your homeboy Flex. Glad I got in tonight.
What's up, my man? How you doing, Flex?
I'm doing okay. A lot of good calls tonight. Steve and the guys calling in tonight, and I keep hearing a lot of questions from the fans about, why is it like this and why is it like that and why don't they do this and why is USC and LSU move like this? And it goes back to a conversation I had with you about 2 months ago. And this is to, all of the guys that are on the message boards. I don't know why we're not paying attention to this. Did you see the president of USC and the president of LSU? Did you hear the speeches that they made when they got their hires, Gary? And even the guy in Florida. Did you hear the speech? Well, here's my point. The point is, and I brought this up to you about our president, Julio Frank, and these two guys, I don't know why you're in love with them, Terretta and Fernandez. They don't know shit.
I think
football.
They're doing a good job navigating through all this.
Gary, I'm sure you do. I don't know why. You being around the program as long as you have, sometimes I don't understand you, Gary, because I know how long you've been around. I know I have friends that are your friends that are on the board. Period.
Right.
No bullshit. And it's like I don't understand sometimes when you. Anyway, moving on. What I'm saying is,
you got a lot of guys, Flex, that just are never going to agree with each other.
No.
These guys and the president have to navigate through that and exit out the back door with everybody having a fairly good feeling about what's going on.
And let me get to the reason why. The reason why is because what I told you about 2 months ago. Culturally, our people don't get it. And they don't get it not because they're incompetent, not because they're not intelligent. They're very intelligent people in what they do and where they come from. We have a president, I said this to you 2 months ago, and it matters. And it's just cultural. I'm not making any, trying to make any fuss. He's from Mexico City. He grew up on soccer. Nothing's wrong with that. Nothing at all. But culturally, no matter how hard he tries, he can't. He won't get it. It's just like me. It's like me or you going to Mexico City trying to get the passion, the importance of soccer or something like that. It ain't gonna happen. And the guys around him, Echeverria and Fernandez, they're not much better. Go look at their Google profiles. Look at where they come from. They never played sports in high school. They probably never even went to a homecoming. And people, this stuff.
They're business guys. They're not athletics guys. They're business guys.
They're not only are they just business guys, because you can have business guys, Gary, like those guys at OU, those presidents at OU and Ohio State and Georgia and USC. They're business guys, but they have the football cultural experience as babies. Their fathers had it. Their grandfathers had it. It gives you a different perspective on making decisions. These decisions have nothing to do with because you have a company that makes $1 billion a year. That just means you're a good businessman. It has nothing to do with football. The reason these things are happening so fast at USC, Oklahoma, LSU, because those people understand the culture. Our entire board, and one of your friends told me this, are lost is what he just told me this 2 days ago. And he's on the board. He said they're lost. He said they're lost. If I ever see you in person, I'm going to say, Gary, that's me, Flex. Your friend is such and such, such and such. That's who told me that. I'll say it to you in your face, straight up. He said they're lost. And you know why they're lost? Not because they're not intelligent. They're intelligent in what they do in their business. But their parents are foreigners. They may be foreigners. They're not into the culture of football. There's no way we should be even discussing, or it should even be out there a little bit, that Manny Diaz might be brought back. Why? He should have never been hired, like you said 1,000 times, Gary. But you know why we're going through this? Because our administration, my people, all of the people that are listening, our administration they don't get it. They won't get it because that's just where we are here in Miami. You know, 70s and 80s, and that thing spread out into the 90s and trickled into the early 2000s. It was a slightly different culture on that board, slightly different culture at the top as the president. Once Shalala took over, she falls into that category also. You've seen the decline of the program because in major college football, it has to start at the top. Moving on, Gary, I hear you talk about the athletic department, and you said that Alonzo didn't have he might lose the job. He might lose out on the job because he doesn't have the experience of, administrative work. If that's the case, why the hell they hire Manny Diaz? This guy had no reason at all to be even considered a University of Miami football coach. None whatsoever. Not one. But now we got people saying that Alonzo doesn't have this, that, or the other. This is what Alonzo has and what you say he has. This is all that matters. Alonzo has the ability to bring the football program up. When you bring the football program up, all the other programs benefit. All that other shit, basketball, or volleyball, baseball, that shit ain't nothing without a thriving football program. If you got a thriving football program, ain't nobody even going to give a shit about that shit over there because we're going to be throwing money at it to make it work, and we'll figure it out. I would put Alonzo in there, and I agree with you. He doesn't have administrative experience in certain areas, but what he does have, and you agree with me, is football knowledge. He will bring the football program up. Bring that up, and everything else will fall in line. But, man, I'm going to hang up, Gary, and I'll say it to you again. The problem with us is cultural. We have too many people on the board that just don't get it, and they don't care. They don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them because, like I said, they grew up in a household with probably, I don't know what, they were probably playing badminton, or they were doing this and doing that. Those guys it's Gary, it's so important. Those guys in LSU, Georgia, USC, Oklahoma, Texas, those people grew up in football communities all around the United States. Their fathers grew up. They went to homecoming football games. Like, this stuff sounds minute, but culturally it is very important when you get to the top, and now you have to make decisions about this stuff. What the hell is Julio Frank? Who the hell is Julio Frank? How is he going to guide this? How is he going to give any good leadership to the football program? How?
He's not, and he's not even trying to. But Flex, don't you think pretty much every university in the country has a segment of its population that are academicians that don't give high flying diddlies about athletics? I don't think the University of Miami is unique to that. I think you could go to any university and find that.
Gary, any of those schools that I named you, any of those blue bloods, Texas, USC, Oklahoma, Alabama, anything in the SEC, more than half of the Big Ten, USC out west, probably USC definitely, probably all of the Big 12, even though it's not a great conference, they're football crazy. All of the Big 10, all of the SEC, all of those people on those boards, Gary, if they ain't with the program of football, they get to the back of the bus. You can believe that. But I think it's far. Gary, you have to look at the region of the country these people grew up in. You grew up in any of those parts of the United States, football is life. It's just what it is. I mean, you can also be a great CEO, a great businessman at Ohio State. But when you grew up as a child, your father, football was life. And guess what? When you get to those type of schools that have those type of national championships like Miami has, if you didn't grow up and you know about football, you're going to know real fast. Football is life here. We are a 5-time national championship school. 5 times. We played in 10. We have the 3rd or 4th most Hall of Famers. We have the greatest team to ever lace up and play on a football field. This is football royalty. And you telling me that you can't see that the reason they don't treat it like as such is because it's cultural? It's strictly cultural. It has, bro. We have more national championships than LSU. We have more than a bunch of these Georgia. But look how they treat their football compared to us. It's only because of the culture. It's nothing else. These people don't get it. They don't get it, and they won't get it because that's just their background. That's what it is. Fernandez, Echeverria, and the president. What's his name again? Julio Frank. What kind of leadership we got? We ain't got no leadership.
I heard Rudy Fernandez grew up going to Miami games. Like, I don't think he's totally foreign to the importance of Miami football.
Gary, maybe not, Gary, but you get my drift, and there's no way you've been covering this stuff as long as you have, and the guys I know that know you talk about you when I tell them I'm on your program and shit. There's no way you can't see it. Maybe you don't want to say it, and maybe you feel like it's politically incorrect, which is not because I'm saying
no, I
from an
see what you're saying, Flex.
Of course,
but I can also agree with you and understand a different viewpoint, which is what I'm able to do. I'm not saying I agree with it or disagree with it.
Well,
all right, man. Hey, thanks for the call. Give us a call next week, all right?
All right, thanks.
Flex. Yep. All right, this is interesting. Jersey Shore Kane on the message boards at CaneSport.com is challenging me in consecutive posts here. First, he wants me to name one redeemable quality that Manny Diaz has to continue as coach at the University of Miami. I mean, if I had to answer that question, it would be the grip that he has on the locker room. The fact that those kids play incredibly hard for him every single game without exception. And sometimes it's better than others. Sometimes they play hard very poorly. But you don't see these kids quitting. You see them engaged. And I don't think that that's to be taken for granted because you see something different at a lot of other places. And then he says, make the case for Manny Diaz to continue as coach at the University of Miami. Man, I would include what I just said, and I would say that if I had to make a case, it would be that he's only had 3 years, and that he did show improvement in the second half of year 3. As marginal as it might have been, they still were just winning games by the hair of their chinny chin chin. And somebody who's pushing for Manny is going to say, you got to give him a chance to see what he can do in year 4. I would argue probably that I appreciate everything Manny accomplished second half of this year, but I think the sample size is big enough that this is what you're going to get. Win some, lose some, middle of the pack, no separation, can't recruit well enough to get separation. If you wait now another year, you might pay with it for 2 more years on the other side. That would be the other argument that I think could certainly be made. Let's go to 256. You're live on CaneSport Live.
What's going on, Gary?
Doing great. Who's this?
This is Warren from Alabama, man.
What's up, Juan? How you doing?
Doing all right, man. I just wanted to call in and let y'all know that my sister-in-law's baby cousin Tracy said that Mario Cristobal is going to be the head coach next week. All right, keep me on hold. Hurricane for life.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. Let's go to the 239. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Doing great. Who's this?
This is Joe from Fort Myers.
What's up, Joe? Talk to us. What you got?
Well, man, I want to compliment you first off, build you up before I beat you down.
All right.
You guys have been doing a lot of things, man, not with the NIL, but your morning show with Matt, you guys, feed off each other. Great little dynamic that you guys have. It's just, I look forward to it every day, and I appreciate you guys doing it. So kudos to you, as well as the CaneSport Live that I've been listening to years. So I appreciate the work that you've been putting in, man.
Not a problem at all. And I hope you watch the Lamar Thomas show on Wednesdays. That's usually pretty lit.
I do. Sometimes I do, and I love it when Bruce comes on. I'm sorry?
I know it's a long show.
It is at times, but it's entertaining. And, and I like it, Lamar. And I wouldn't mind if Lamar takes a bite of a chicken wing once in a while now, because he's licking his lips and it's right next to him. I know he's smelling it. So you're doing a good job, and we appreciate it, man.
Mom gets mad at him for doing it. She'll lecture him.
What do you think about it?
I don't have any problem with Lamar eating chicken wings.
Smacking his lips. There you go.
He can do whatever he wants.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you. I'm sorry?
Lamar can do whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned.
It's his show. It's his name.
Yep.
So last year, what did you predict, Gary, of how we were going to do this year? What was your season prediction? What was your our record? What did you predict for our record?
I thought that they could win 9. They only won 7.
Okay. Now grading the 9-7. I mean, 9 wins versus 7 wins.
Big difference.
A couple of balls, left or right being kicked, or ball bouncing in our way. We could have made 9, no?
Yeah, and they also could have ended up with 5. It could have gone in either direction.
Okay, but true. But let's look at the glass half full. If we would have ended with a 9, if the balls would have bounced our way, but the outcome, the only difference is the wins, the yardage, the 4 lost carries and everything, the way that it all turned out. If the ball bounces our way and we ended up with 9 wins, would you retain Manny?
I think he would have been retained. I don't think what I think is relevant. Listen, I like Manny. But I also understand that Manny's not creating
but I'm asking
that
you what you would
separation that
do.
I'm talking about that Miami football needs to go to the next level. I don't think he's capable of doing it. I don't think he's capable as a recruiter, and I don't think he's capable as a coach.
The coaching is a big thing, because coaching comes with, not only what you do on, the live games and the decision-making during the games, because that's vital. And that comes with experience, and we all know that he's lacking from that. He's learning on the job, and we don't have to talk about that. But the development aspect of things, making people better, impacting them not only physically, mentally, whether not only in the school books, but as an individual, as a football player, as a position player. He's been responsible for the middle linebackers since day one. And we've been lacking in that area. Thank God for 3 freshmen from the very beginning. Besides that was it. So the development aspect of things is really a concern as far as Manny. So let me not beat up Manny anymore, because everybody knows his downfalls and pitfalls. I believe that Cristobal is our end goal. If not, I think it was a total failure. It's like, playing, I'm all in. I'm all in on Mario. And I think us as a university, I would imagine that we're all in. Because if we're not, I think this will be a total disaster. And the compensation prize would be what, Manny? Lane Kiffin would be acceptable. but that's been pretty hush-hush, and I'm not familiar with all his off-the-field antics. I know he loves Twitter. I know he's kind of a young guy, and he does kind of things kind of crazy, and he makes little comments on Twitter and so forth. But besides that, you know, I'm not too familiar with Lane Kiffin. What's the negative side on Lane Kiffin? Because there's a lot of pluses in my eyes besides no defense, but his offense looks really good.
Yeah, I mean he's fine, but he's a gamble. He's flamed out almost everywhere he's been. If you're going to spend $50 million,
but he did pretty well in the
$50 million,
SEC.
$70 million, he's a big risk.
Okay, so if Mario is not number one,
he's number one,
and we've waited so long, USC. I'm sorry.
He's number one.
Okay, so Mario is number one, and what happens if we don't land Mario? So Lane Kiffin number two, maybe?
I think Lane Kiffin would be number two. And if you get to
now,
number
do you think
three,
it's
in my opinion,
off the field?
You're better off keeping Manny and taking a look again next year. Because
so Manny would be your number three with the body of work that he has provided?
I think if you hire a coach and you're talking about having to make a 5-year commitment to somebody that isn't a number one in your mind, I would punt for a year. That's me. I'm not saddling myself with another 4 or 5 years of an average coach. So that's me.
Not to reproduce the recycle effect. What the same cycle we've been into.
If you're going to be average, you might as well be average with somebody that you could cut loose after next year. Then be average with somebody you're tied to for another 4.
And
not
what
knowing
do you
if
think
they
the
can get you out of
damage,
it or
though?
not.
What do you think the damage of the recruiting aspect of the things and the transfer portal and the negativity? I mean, you know how Miami fans are. I happen to be one, and I'm pretty rough on my team. You know, I love them extremely hard, but I also give them lots of rough love extremely hard, and the expectation is there. And this has been 20 years, and I'm an older guy, so I was there for the heyday. You know, my kids have never known a winning Miami team. They're being ridiculed, you know, due to the fact that they're Canes fans only because their old man is a Canes fan. It was back in my day. But I think it's time. I think it's time for the university to step it up. And I think if we don't land Mario, I mean, there's a lot of, like, you know, if you read the tea leaves, and I'm a junkie, man. I go, you know, I cheat on you, Gary. I not only, like, pay for your site, I pay for, you know, 247 and some other sites, and I listen to all the podcasts, and this is what I consume. I consume everything, not being from, I mean, I'm from Miami, but I'm not living in the Miami area, even though it's only 90 miles away, but it's far from Cuba, but it's also far from the Naples-Fort Myers area for me. So I don't digest it as much as possible, and everything over here is Florida State and Gators. So I consume everything I possibly can. And I hear a lot of different things, and USC is making a move, and you guys, you know, discussed everything about it with the other schools. But I'm legitimately, you know, I'm concerned, truly concerned that it's Mario or a bust. And I can understand
well, let's
that.
Let's see if it ends up the bust part of that ends up being irrelevant.
Well, no. It's like leaving a party and then you end up with a fat girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
yeah, they can't let that happen.
But you just don't want your friends to see you on it.
Yeah, they can't let it happen.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right, well,
and if they do let it happen, we're all going to be sitting here screaming together a week from now.
We will. And one last comment
100%.
about the whole Miami thing. If you take out the injury out of all the, you know, from the starting lineup from the beginning of the year, if you take out injury, all of our youngsters that have replaced the existing players, it was due to injury, not because of them being picked over them. So I think the injury thing might be like a little bit of a crutch. You know, I would love to find out what's going on with Al Blades. I mean, does he have a true ailment, or was it
I think he had a hernia
from COVID? So from COVID, and then he had a hernia. Remember, because he had COVID for a couple of times, and then. Okay.
But here's
all right,
here's
Gary.
one
We'll keep up the
place
good
where I will
work, bro.
defend Manny, and I know people like to point to the young players, but I don't think you could assume that those young players were ready to play early in the season against Alabama and Michigan State. Yeah, I think that's a bad assumption.
Yes, it might be right. You might be right. You know, I'm from the old school. Like I mentioned, I'm a little bit older. You know, the way it's you know, the way that I've been always taught, you want to learn how to swim, you gotta get wet. You gotta get wet. Throw your ass in the pool.
Yeah, but if you're Manny Diaz and everybody in town's ready to fire you, you're not in a hurry to do that. You're more likely to put the guys out on the field that you think know what they're doing. The problem that Manny ran into is those guys didn't play very well this year.
Yeah,
Bubba Mold and Gervin Hall.
Maybe they're just better in practice.
They didn't play very well.
You know, maybe they just excelled in practice, and the youngsters didn't. You know, maybe the youngsters weren't excited to practice, and the old guys were. You got to see that talent shine through. You can see it, can't you? When they get on the field, or is playing a game that much different when. Yeah, you know, I know practice. Or, you know, Iverson with the whole practice thing, but
but when you add
through these guys,
the emotions of game day
Taylor,
and the fact that you're out there,
you can't stand next to Taylor and not know he's talented, Gary.
I mean, it's different.
Okay, you know better than I do. You've been around this.
It's different.
I mean,
it's just different. And if you're a young kid that doesn't really know yet what you're doing, and you don't really know the playbook, and now you're having to make snap decisions out there in front of 50, 60,000 people, and if you make a mistake, it might cost your team a game. That's a lot for a young kid sometimes.
You know better than I do. You know, you've been doing this. I'm just a fan, man. I'm just a fan. I just want my team to get better.
I know.
You know, but I appreciate the work that you're doing. Very entertaining, man. That's why, you know, I listen to you. I watch you. I read you. So keep up the good work, you know.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate
give Matt a little break every
else.
once in a while.
Give us a call next week.
Well, I appreciate the work. All right,
you
buddy.
got it. Give us a call next week. Thanks for the call. Another question from the message boards at CaneSport.com. Nunez, Eddie, the AD candidate, there's rumors that he got a second interview recently, which I believe could be true. What's the likelihood of a Nunez-Zoe team? If Nunez is the guy, and he could be, a guy that spent, I believe, 17 years at LSU in 7 or 8 different positions before he became the athletic director at New Mexico, where he's been for 7 years. Certainly not a big football school, but this is a guy that does have administrative experience. I absolutely could see them taking a guy like that and pairing him with Alonzo Highsmith as a number 2 in charge of football. No doubt about it. I do think that's a live possibility. How many times is he going to be interviewed? I mean, I would think if he's been interviewed twice, that should be enough. But we'll see what happens. Let's go out to the 727. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, Gary.
Who's this?
Gary? This is Jake from St. Pete. How you doing today?
What's up, Jake? How you doing this week?
Doing good. Yeah, I missed half the show last week. We were at a party, and it sounded like you had some good stuff, so I was a little bummed we missed it. But this week is they're really at that, you know, like listening to the show, I usually try to get on a little earlier, but, you know, it seems to me like everyone is, you know, we're around Christmas time, and it's like everyone's waiting for Christmas, and they're worried that, you know, they're going to get a real shitty gift this year. and you know, it's just like every year, you know, we're you know, I'm what, you know me, I call in, I'm usually fairly optimistic or whatnot. But it's just like, the longer this drags out, I'm reading what you're saying, and I get what you're saying to a degree, but is there ever any feeling around this program, or not the program, but the school? You keep saying there's this old guard who's like, oh, we got to use our money perfectly and wisely. Like, big companies or big organizations like that waste money all the damn time. They're full of fluff and nonsense and garbage. But B, that school exists because of the football program. That school was nothing like it is before this football program put them on the map. It was Suntan U. Locals went there. I'm not going to say it was like a trash school, but it's not, they didn't have a $2 billion medical center and all the other stuff. Like, their law school wasn't what it is today. Their medical school isn't what it is today. It's because of the football program. Got the whole country wanting to go there. That got everyone excited about it. I'm from Chicago originally. Not the only reason I know about Miami University is because of the football program. Otherwise, it's a small private school in the city of Miami, or not even, in Coral Gables. Maybe it's time to pay the piper. Maybe it's time to find it. And I hope, that's the report. And, I believe everything you're saying, that they're doing their due diligence. But it's just like, I don't know. This whole thing with the politics and Manny Diaz, it's a really bad take. It shouldn't be like that. I'm not even talking that we need to be in the hunt for national championships in a year or two or three, whatever. But, pay it back a little bit. That football program built a lot of those buildings. That football program put money into the school's coffers for so many years. And maybe not in the way of, a lot of athletic programs lose money, or they, they're not that profitable, but the amount of profits generated from all the buzz they get, from all it's one of the most recognizable brands in all of athletics. Like that's worth something. It's worth a lot, actually, and I just don't think that ever gets fair shake.
Well, you're right, Jake, and one of the questions that I'm being asked on the message boards pertains to coaching salaries and what's gone on in the last week and why these coaches are suddenly making so much money. And I've thought about it, and if you rationalize it and say, what does a university do that captivates the entire community where it resides, captivates all of its alumni, brings 60, 70, 80, 90, 100,000 people into a stadium 6 times a year? What does that more than football? And the answer is nothing.
Exactly. Look, they've got a good medical school, but there's no one rallying around the medical school.
Right.
Maybe some people are at the top of the class, but even at that, the more people that apply, the better the pool is. And that's what raised that program, is that so many people in the 80s and 90s and even in the 2000s were applying there. They had way more applications than people they could take, and it rose it from just an average, run-of-the-mill Catholic university to a national prominent school. That was the football program that did that. It wasn't anything else. And so it's now you're dipping into the coffers a little, but pay it forward, and have the vision to see what it could be, and that it did that before. It can do it again. Maybe not to the I'm the first one who says I don't think they can be an Alabama type or a Miami in the 80s, but get it to respectability where everybody's rallied around it. And I guarantee that pays off in droves. It's proven it before. It'll do it again. That brings me to the whole thing with Manny Diaz, because my concern is right now you've got momentum on the side of making a change, or at least the appearance of momentum. I've been a fan since the 80s when I was a little kid, but in the last 20 years, we pointed more times than not. In fact, almost every time they make a decision like this. So I'll believe it when I see it. But the momentum appears to be that way. My concern is if you bring Manny back, what's to say a year from now all this kind of dies out? Manny is the king of the off season, so he makes some big splashy moves, hits up the portal, gets the hype train going again, and maybe the fans aren't fooled, the diehards, like us following the program all the time. But the higher ups and everyone, there's momentum, there's excitement, even though it's BS. And then you got an empty stadium again next year. But what concerns me even more is the schedule next year is just as easy as could be. I mean, Clemson's down; they're losing half their defense. The one good thing about the ACC Coastal this year was they had a lot of really good quarterbacks. Those guys are all gone. So what happens when Manny Diaz goes 9-3 or 10-2 on a powder puff schedule next year? And then we all know it's not accomplishment. It's not like the needle got moved anywhere. It's just, a weak year. You got two, other than Texas A&M, they got nobodies and they're out of conference. So that's 3 wins. And then all they got to do is win, 6 more games on a not even off schedule. That's very accomplishable, even by Manny's standards. And a couple of those field goals go his way, and then next thing you know, he's getting a 3-year contract. But our recruiting's stuck in the mud. We lose out on Brandon Ennis, we lose out on Jaylen Brown, and all the others in the area, and we still have no presence outside of anywhere. I mean, we're just stuck in the mud again. We'll probably.
Your point, Jake, is that this can go on like this forever, and you're right. It can.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why it's just like, to me,
they got to man up and decide what they want to be. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And I'd like the transparency, just so as a fan, excuse me, I can be in the know. Let me know. If you guys want to be marginal, if you want to be mediocre, that's fine. I'll probably be a mediocre fan. I'm not going to renew my tickets. I'll go to a game or 2 every year. I'll enjoy that time, probably as part of a vacation. But let me know, because it's like, if you're not committed, why should I? I'm ready to renew my tickets. You make a move, I'm ready to make a donation. I'm ready to pay twice as much for my season tickets. You'll have to pay Mario $10 million a year or $8 million, whatever it is. I'll pay it, but I need to see that commitment. Otherwise, it's like, why should I? What's if you're not committed? Why do I keep banging my head against the wall and saying, prove me wrong, when all you do is just do the same thing? Crazy. Anyway, I'll let you go, man. That's just my 2 cents. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope next week we're celebrating. That's what I'd like.
All right, Jake.
Next Tuesday we're all going nuts. All right, my friend. Take it easy.
563-999-3550, 563-999-3550. You hit the 1 on your keypad if you want to come on the show. Let's go to the 850. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, how you doing tonight, Gary? This is Travis.
Hey, what's up, Travis? Talk to us.
Another day, man. I don't know. I'm one of the fans that's growing increasingly frustrated with this whole situation. I guess my message to any new AD that's coming in is, if you want to lose the fan base day one, go ahead and retain Manny Diaz, because we'll be done with you immediately. We don't care. Like, you got to put your big boy pants on. You got 2 options, and that's it. You better go get them 2 options, one of them. Figure it out. Do whatever you got to do, because you bring Manny back. Just listen to tonight's episode. No one's coming. No one's giving money. There ain't no hype train for nothing. Come on, we're looking at, okay, the only reason we won 5 to 6 games, besides, discovering Tyler Van Dyke, is our offensive coordinator. Well, he ain't there no more.
He did a good job.
And you're telling me he did second half of the year. He got his. He still made some bonehead stuff, still running up the middle. I mean, he ain't the greatest offensive coordinator of all time.
No, but
he
did much better.
We're replacing him with Rob Likens, That's the future. So we're coming back next year with Manny Diaz and Rob Likens, and Manny's still running the show. Then just fold the program. We'll just go ahead and be done with that. Like no one wants to see that. Like maybe you can get Manny Diaz Sr. and his little cronies, and you can get their boy David Epstein out there. You know, maybe they can be in the stands, and we can have 35,000 people, but only 5. I mean, let's be real here. This is a joke. I'm sorry to say it to you, Gary, but Team Matt Shodell, like all the way, everything he says to you every morning is pretty much right on point, man. I mean, this. You know why USC has Lincoln Riley? Because it's been back-channeled for the last 3 months. If you look at his recruiting, he's predominantly recruited the West Coast. Like, he knew he was leaving at the end of the season. Like, he told his agent, like, yo, that USC job that just opened up, we getting that, right? Yeah, go get that. All right, I'm going to go coach the rest of the season, but go get that job, and I'm going to recruit some West Coast players. You know what I mean? Like, that's been happening. But here we are. We're weeks out from our AD being fired, and last week we fire up the search firm? You didn't do that from day one? You didn't realize you needed a search firm because you're incompetent? Yeah. It's just the same crap over and over and over.
I think you got to see how it ends before you judge it. I think you got to wait.
Man, I'm sorry, Gary, we already know where this ends at. Everybody's severely disappointed, man. Like it's like Flex said, it's the culture. It's the people that are in there.
I think you got to let it play out.
You got Lamonis coming in like he's hard now, making all these tweets about how changes got to be made. Well, you were Mr. E before the W last year, man. We don't forget this crap. Like screw all you bot members, man. Like seriously, like you're indifferent to sports. Like Jake said, the only reason you went to that school in the first place was because of sports. That's the only reason you even knew what that school was. That's why you have your big brand of the U. All this is this incompetence from the top down. Like Flex said or whoever said, man, like, damn, dude, we got a president that doesn't even know what American football is. What are we doing, dude? Like 20 years of this crap. Screw all the people in charge. You guys screw this up, we done, man. We riot. Sorry. Thanks, Gary, for having me on.
All right, Travis. I think you got to let it finish. I think you got to let it get to the end game, and if everything stays status quo, I think everyone will have a collective scream fest afterwards. But I don't think that's where it's headed. I think they have a process they have to work through. I think they're doing it, and I don't know. I like what I've seen, and I'm not always supportive of these things. Like. I feel comfortable with what I'm seeing so far. We'll see where it ends. All right, 563-999-3550. You hit the 1 on your keypad. If you want to come on the show, let's go to the 808. You're live on CaneSport Live. 808, you with us?
Yes, hi. Hi, Gary. How are you? Hello?
Yep, doing good. Who's this?
Hello, Gary?
Yes.
Hi, Norman from Hawaii.
Hey, what's up, Norman?
Oh, not much. I just wanted to contribute my thoughts on the hiring of Mario Cristobal. I just think that it's imperative that we get him to Miami because, for one thing, he's the guy that's going to shut down recruiting in South Florida. And in addition to that, his family in Miami. And if I remember correctly, watching that Ohio State game, that color analyst said he met with Mario 2 days before the game, and he said he was so impressed by Mario's demeanor. He said, my parents worked 2 jobs, we're an immigrant family, and every day was a day of reckoning, every hour. And he said he learned accountability, dedication, and that's the guy who we need. And yep. I kind of like Lane Kiffin, but I think he has a history of leaving the program every 3 years. So you can give him a 5-year deal, but he'll probably leave in 2 or 3. And that's just my take on it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed on Mario. I know you said right now it's at an 8. And I think if it's taking this long, I just think that maybe the UM officials are going to wait till they get all three positions, and they're going to do it all on the same presser. That's just my take. I don't know how others feel about it, but
not out of the question that it plays out that way. We'll have to see how the timing shakes. It's going to depend on when they have their AD.
Yeah, that's going to be important.
If the AD announcement is Thursday or Friday, Norman, they'll be separate.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks for taking the call, and you have a great evening, and
you got it,
keep
man.
up
Aloha.
the good work. Aloha.
Let's go to 305. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, Gary. How are you? It's David.
Who's this?
David.
Hey, what's up, David? Welcome to the show, man.
All right,
what would
you
give
doing?
right now to be sitting on a beach in Hawaii with Norman? I would love that, man. I could use a couple days at the beach in Hawaii.
I'll tell you what I like better, though, Mario. I'll take that over anything. So I have a couple questions. My first one is, what makes you think that by waiting and punting for a year, it's going to be cheaper next year? You don't think that?
Oh, I'm not saying it's going to be cheaper. I don't want them to make a bad hire and get stuck with a guy that can't move the needle for another 4 or 5 years.
Well, but you don't think that between now and next year, I mean, look at all the coaches signing extensions now. You don't think Oregon's would lock Mario in between now and next year? You don't think Mississippi would lock Lane in between now and next year? Like, all these coaches are already signing extensions. They're seeing all these deals, and they're taking it now. So you're going to get in on a coach that has 6-7 years left on his deal?
I would agree with you that now is the time to strike. I think they are trying to do that.
And also, what makes you think that, Mario's daddy's not going to be fighting for him next year also, and working and pulling the strings and all
Manny's dad?
No,
Manny's dad will never stop fighting.
Yeah, Manny's dad. Exactly. So, as long as he's alive, is
they have an opportunity
unfireable?
here. You're bringing in a new athletic director. You can bring in a new coach. You can have an entirely clean slate, fresh start. The fans will be excited. It's right there. They got to get it to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, all this talk, it's like then he's basically unfireable as long as his dad's alive. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you're going to have him coaching on a 1-year deal, basically. I don't know.
I don't think there's a lot of needle moving options for them. They got to make Mario Cristobal happen.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree, but the thing is, things Manny's good at, one of them is making excuses. And the first excuse he's going to make, which he already makes, is that, he can't recruit because because you don't have an extension. He needs an extension to recruit. And what are you going to do then? Fire him in the middle of the season, or you give him an extension? And people forget. People forget.
It's all about the buyout.
Yeah, no, I know, but people forget that you have guys calling in saying, "Oh, we could have been 9-3." Does everybody forget we needed a last-minute field goal to beat App State at home this year? The same way we could have been 9-3, we could have been 3-9.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I don't see any scenario where you could bring him back. I mean, he hasn't been here for 3 years. He's been here for 6 years, and every single year the defense has gotten worse.
Because the personnel has been on decline every year.
Well, but whose fault is that?
It's his.
Yeah. I mean, and you have the old guard, I'm trying to get through these quick, that's saying, we don't want to spend that money on football maybe. It hurts them to say it, but what if that money's coming in from the outside and it's not hurting the university?
Exactly.
So what excuse does that have then?
If
someone comes in and goes, okay, well, you don't have to spend that money. Here's the money to do it. What's their excuse going to be then? That's where I see it. I mean, I just don't see any scenario where he could come back. I mean, I think they're just so far in. And, I mean, it's really a disservice to him, like a caller said earlier. You have him, the poor guy. I mean, I don't want to say the poor guy, but the guy's out recruiting right now, giving out offers, offering an FIU offensive lineman, a 2-star or whatever he is, And, you know, you don't think he knows that the university's trying to go after Mario or Lane? Of course he knows. So what, and if you don't land them, then you go, okay, Manny, you could come back. You know, we didn't get the guys we really wanted. You could come back. Like, what is that? I think that I understand the saving money, you know, December 1st, tomorrow. Yeah, I think they have to let him go tomorrow. You know, it's a disservice. You know, you can't have him, you know, out there, you know, thinking one thing when it's really not when that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he knows you're trying to go after Mario.
You got an hour and 34 minutes. And the price
who
reportedly goes down.
Do you think, two more quick ones, do you think that Mario may have told, you know, the university through his people that he doesn't want them to fire Manny because then it's going to bring up, obviously, all the talk, you know, Mario to Miami before his Pac-12 game?
Would not shock me. But I think the buyout is the bigger issue here.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. I understand it, but at the same time, you know, it's just it's hard. It's hard to think that they actually care when this is dragging on like this. I mean, you know, you say Mario, he's got a Pac-12 game, his season's not over. But hey, LSU went and got Brian Kelly, and they're number 6, and Notre Dame's number 6 in the playoffs. They're in the playoff contention.
Yep.
You know, Lincoln Riley also. So, I don't know. All right, Gary. Well, thanks for the time. Hopefully, we're all, like everybody says, we'll all be back next Tuesday celebrating.
If it doesn't shake out right, we'll be doing a recreation of the movie Network. We're all gonna be going to our windows. We're gonna stand up and yell, "We're mad as hell and we're not taking it anymore."
But you're feeling pretty good about it, though, right?
I like what I'm seeing and hearing. You know, but they got to get to the finish line. We'll see.
I did see that someone said that on the Oregon boards things are starting to come up. They're starting to get nervous because he hasn't gotten an extension, and you know.
Well, he just signed one last year, so.
Well, I mean, they already had Taggart that left to go back home, so you know now, you know, the talk's going to be Mario coming back home, so.
He's going to get to make a choice where he wants to be. We'll see what he does.
All right, Gary.
All right, man. Thank you for being part of the show.
Thank you.
Let's go to 973. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Gary.
What's up, Ross?
What's going on, man? Hey, Gary, I don't know what happened, but I was supposed to get on earlier. The thing took me out. I had to jump right back in. It took me out. So I'm behind like 6 or 7 people, man. I don't know why. It took me out. I never touched the number 1. After I touched the number 1 the first time, I didn't touch it again, and it knocked me out. I heard it say you're out of the hole, and then I had to put myself back in. So that's not sure what happened.
Well, now you're in. So talk to us.
Hey, man, what's going on? So listen, Gary, listen. I mean, everybody talking, and hey, Gary, tell me about this guy here. Who is John Ruiz? Who is he? As far as you know,
he is a South Florida businessman who just hit the lottery.
Okay. All right. So, second question, and I'm going to go right back to him. Pertain to him, though. Is he cool with Manny's dad?
Wait, say it again?
Is he friends with Manny's dad?
Pray with Manny's dad?
No, is he friends? Can you hear me?
Oh, is he friends? I have no idea.
Okay. You have an echo back.
I don't know why.
Back echo.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
why.
yeah, is he friends? So you have no idea, right? So
no idea.
If he's not friends with him, and I hear you talk, you're saying about the university and the U Health Department and everybody else they don't want to waste money, they don't want to waste this. If this guy is not friends with him, and Manny's daddy is not the one that's going to help pick the AD from New Mexico State and everybody else, I don't see what the connection.
Not the case.
Okay, so I don't see what the holdup would be with the money being separate from U Health. If this guy Ruiz is saying he wants to help, he has the type of cash
the type of money, the type of cachet to help the program the way he say he wants to, right? So all that, some people don't want to throw this money away and they don't want to burn them. He's coming in with his money. And he's saying, he's waiting. He literally said this. He said, I'm waiting to see how they want me to help because I'm willing to help in many different ways. These are his words verbatim. So if he's going to say those words, I don't want to hear nothing. I'm not necessarily coming at you, but I have to say it to you so the audience can hear it. I don't want to hear this crap about the university worrying about money that they don't want to come off of. Guess what, guys? You, whoever's making that decisions, it's not your money. It's his money and a few other people, but it's mainly his. Now, if they're telling me they don't want to be, what's the phrase? They don't want to be embedded to this guy, then it's another story. And then I put both hands up and I say, you know what, you got it, because then you guys are not serious about doing this. Because everybody else that's doing it, they're getting other people money outside of their program also to help for coaches coming in. So you're letting me know you're not serious. Hey, before you address that, Gary, a couple other things, and then when you put me on hold, you could address it. I asked this question before on a radio show, and I'm going to ask you again. You've been doing this for a long time. You know the rule changes and everything. In basketball, I do basketball heavy, big time kids. Now, tell me, in the football part, the one-time transfer does apply for football players too, right? Now, the new rules that's in, if a kid has been there since his sophomore, he's a sophomore this year, a true sophomore, not the repeated year everybody got back, but regardless, and he gets the one transfer rule. He could transfer to the school and play right away, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm hearing. Lastly, he's not done yet. He's going to take a few guys with him. He's going to take it sounds stupid, it sounds like crazy, but we got about 3 or 4 long snappers. He's taking one of those, and he's taking a wide receiver, and he's trying to get Jake. I know Jake said he's coming back, but he's trying to get Jake. He can't do he can't get Van Dyke because that would just be too much and trying to really slap Miami in the face and all that because Miami helped him get this job. But he's trying to get Jake, and I know that for a fact. He recruited the heck out of Jake, and he got Jake to commit to Miami, and he'll be on a one transfer rule. It'll be his first time transferring out of Miami, so he'll play right away.
If Jake's going to use that one-time transfer, I'm not sure he does it to go to SMU. If he's smart, he doesn't.
But he'll be on the last. So what I'm saying, it's about numbers, ain't it? You can't tell so you're going to tell me he can't be drafted out of SMU? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying that I think he could do better than SMU.
I understand that he's already at a place where he could do better. What I'm saying, but guys follow coaches for reasons all the time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I could see why Lashley would try to do that. I don't know if I see it happen.
I'm just letting you know he's taking 2 wide receivers, he's taking a long snapper, and he's taking 2 grad students.
Who are the 2 wide receivers you're hearing, Ross?
I'm just not. I don't want to. I don't want nobody killing me. I was told not to tell names, but he is taking 2 wide receivers, and one of them is I would say I give you a little secret. And he's going to push for the one that came from the West Coast. Let's just put it like that.
Oh, Keyshawn.
Just put it like that. All right.
We'll see.
All right. Couple other things. Yeah, a couple other things. Mario. Here's the thing that's in my head and the stuff that I'm hearing as far as Mario. Okay. If Mario comes, people are forgetting this. All night I'm hearing people talking about, even last week, the offense. Regardless of what we do, I'm thinking we're gonna get Mario. Regardless of what we do, nobody is talking about where are we going to get the defensive guy? Because Mario come, the offensive line is set. We're going to get some big fellas in there, some Ogmollies. But the key hire, believe it or not, is not just the head coach. It would be whoever the defensive coach would be. So that's going to be a big who has Mario. Who did he work with at FIU? Who did he work with since he's in Oregon? And who's been on along the way at Alabama? Who can he pull to run that defense?
I'm not sure yet, Ross. But I could tell you that guy is as good at identifying coaches and hiring coaches as anybody I've seen.
I know, but let me ask you this. What my question should have been, a better question should have been, is he more prone to do the 3-4 or 4-3? Is he a 3-4 guy or 4-3 guy?
Don't know. I think it'll depend on the coordinator.
You know, that's a big deal. That's a big deal here. That's a big deal in Miami. You know, we get all cracked up and shaked up about if somebody want to do a 3-4. We get nervous about that. If we're going to run a 4-3,
don't get nervous because nobody's saying they're going to do that yet, Ross.
I'm just letting you know how, like, what's the stuff that I'm hearing about.
You're putting me on notice. If somebody's going to do a 3-4 defense, you're going to be annoyed.
Yeah, because that's stuff that's being sprinkled around. Also, listen, shouldn't take a shot at this guy. I'm not trying to take a shot, but on the basketball end, my whole thing about it also is you got to make sure at this point right now you got to make sure you have the right guy, because new AD, pay attention to the football team. And I need him to pay attention to the football team, but you also got to make sure you got the right guys all the way around in all the other sports. All right, because that stuff needs to be cleaned up too. And no disrespect, because I like those guys, really do. But I'm talking about maybe it's not the head coach, but maybe it's the third half of the assistants. But anyway, jumping back to football, recruiting is a mess. Manny's the one that created this mess. So all that, we should keep him and let's see what happens on the back end of this. He created this mess. Did you see what this happened to us at Duke with the kick return? We still have embarrassing plays on defense in the sense of certain things that shouldn't happen is happening, and you're saying that maybe the guy wouldn't have gotten hurt if they didn't get hurt, they weren't ready to play. Okay, so what did Taylor learn from playing Central Connecticut State? He finally got it. He finally got his assignment right when he played Central Connecticut State, because he never not played again after that. Every time I turned around, he was on the field. He was on the field. Now, we're going to lose Nasty, and I think we're going to lose the kid from New York, number 81, Hunt. I think we're going to lose him.
Why do you have everybody leaving already, Ross?
I got the ins and outs of this stuff. I'm in the business. I know the ins and outs. I'm not saying he's going to take an evaluation. Especially Hunt is going to take the evaluation. He's from Chrysler King. Gary, look at my area code. Where's my area code?
So you know some people over at the high school.
Yeah, I know the ins and outs of what's going on with that.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready for the draft yet. I think he needs one more.
He's going to sniff. I'm not saying he's going, but he's going to sniff. He's going to sniff because he's talented coming off that line, and he shoots the gaps, and the NFL kind of likes that stuff. They might like what they see, you know. But listen, man, our recruiting is a mess, Gary. Address this stuff about Ruiz. If he's not connected to the daddy, I have no concern about spending his money. Now, if he's connected to the daddy, Manny.
I don't think he is,
Gary,
Ross.
Take care. Whole shout out to everybody, guys.
I don't think he's connected there. Thanks for being part of the show, man. Give us a call next week. Let's go to the 757. You are live on CaneSport Live.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Mike Kane. Look, Gary, I'm tired of this shit show. That's all it is, bro. You get people hopes up, and it ain't you, man. Let me tell you, it ain't you. One of my guys said, Kim, my man Trey and Charles, Trey was like, man, Gary just reporting what he getting, Kim. You can't blame Gary. I'm going to give you some slack. That's all I'm going to give you, bro, because you're just doing your job. Now, Matt just brings it. Basically what Matt said, if we don't get it right, we in the hole. That's what he say. And, I mean, you agree, but, you ain't as hard as he is. He's that New York man. He got that nasty way about him. But I love it. We got to do something. Now, remember this morning, y'all were talking, and Matt was like, man, you should have fired him like a LSU. You said, no, they're doing it the right way. Of course, y'all going to go both ways with it. I'm with him. Should have fired him, and then you show the fan base, because it's about the fans now. The people that spend their hard-earned money, a person like me that fly from Virginia Beach when I get a chance to come watch the Canes play in Miami, it's just that you spend your money and you see the same results, and it's just bad. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not getting my hopes up. And I know you say it look good on one side so far what you see. Until the icing is on the cake and the player, just like the players when they sign, I ain't got no more to say. Ain't no need to argue. Season over, playing the bowl game. I wish Lashley and his first, second down, running up the middle, wish him well. And whoever you take, if you want to go, go. I ain't tripping. I don't want nobody to leave, but if you want to go, go. Because it's about being a Canes for life, just like you are. And Matt, y'all do this at 24/7. Your eyes, you got bags under your eyes in the morning. You're tired, bro. I know you say if somebody called you and said, Mario the man, you're going to jump for joy. We all going to be happy. But if they say Manny the man, 4th and 16, 4th and damn 17, losing to FIU, losing to Louisiana Tech, letting Carolina run for 9,000 yards last year. I'm sitting in the stadium, we shaking our head like, what the hell is going on? It's his defense. It ain't looking worth a damn. But whatever be the case, man, Cane fans, just sit back. Don't get excited. Just sit back and watch the clock tick, and the longer it go, okay, I'm going to ask you, the longer it go, which way you think it's going to go? Just ask, and just like you get your report. The longer this drags out, which way you think it might go? With the big M or the little M that we have now? Help me out with that. I'm just saying, I ain't got no more to say. Love y'all, Cane fans. Love y'all. We're going to be all right. Just answer that for me. I'm going to stay on hold. Do your thing, Gary. Do your thing. Matt. Listen to y'all tomorrow morning. I'm out.
All right, Cane. Oh, my God. I've said where I think it's going, but it's got to get there. Got to get to the finish line. Let's go to the 239. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Gary, how are you, man?
Doing great. Who's this?
It's Adam in Atlanta. So and I was on the show early. I had to jump off for a while to do some stuff, and I got back on. I heard Ross and a bunch of the other guys. I had a question. I think my question really has to do with your best prognostication, and not of where this thing ends up, or I guess maybe where it ends up. What does the next week look like, based on the tidbits and the sources you have, which we know is voluminous and high quality, unlike a lot of the trash circulating on Twitter of late? What do you think happens? What do you think happens tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever your end time is? What do you think this thing looks like? AD,
if I had a crystal ball, it would be athletic director by Friday, pursuit of Mario Saturday into Sunday possibly. Deal either gets done or doesn't get done Sunday.
Okay. So, are we hearing any indications on AD, whoever that is going to be at this point?
I keep hearing that Eddie Nunez name a lot. I think Dan Radakovich from Clemson might have gotten a call, but he's very pricey. Yeah. I don't know where that's going. Obviously, Alonzo, Gino are in the mix, but I don't think they get the AD job.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Or it could end up being somebody from out of left field that hasn't even been mentioned yet.
So, two comments I wanted to make about the state of things and get your take on it. One is sort of college football in general, with what feels, doesn't it feel like the ground is moving beneath our feet right now in this sport? It kind of feels that way to me.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane, right? We've admittedly, I graduated 15, 20 years ago. My mother went to school, graduated in 79. So I've only been going to games for the last, 30-ish years since I was 5. So I've only been following the sport like a lunatic for the last 15 to 20 years. But even so, in the last 15 to 20 years, say since 2000, something like that, since 95, it feels like the sport is undergoing a pretty significant evolutionary change. And not just in the dollars and cents, but in the outlook on what makes a program, what makes a coach, what defines success. And I think part of it, honestly, is that you've had a lot of the blue bloods since kind of the mid-2000s that have been down for a long time. USC's been down since Pete Carroll. Texas, has been down historically speaking. There's a litany of other ones. Georgia Tech is usually a pretty darn good program. They're down and have been down for a while. UCLA, there's schools with history here that have been down, and you've ended up with this handful of guys that are good. Urban Meyer was one of them. He's out. Pete Carroll was one of them. He's out. You have Nick Saban. Kirby Smart was a new entrant on the scene. A great confluence of a ton of support and following the blueprint that he had learned from Saban and some other examples. But you got 5 good guys, and it feels like you have 20-ish programs that have the will and the resources, more or less, for 5 guys. And so if you have that much of a supply and demand curve out of whack, you're gonna see stupidity, what we perceive to be stupidity. But here's the thing: it may not be stupid. $100 million for 10 years may not be stupid if the ROI is there, which it might be. The dollars and cents in this sport are just getting bigger. It's getting larger. It's $1 billion sport already. I mean, it's ridiculous. But it is. NIL is only going to make it bigger. I mean, the NCAA is on shaky ground. I mean, this sport is heading to a place maybe some of us don't want to see it go, I think, but to amateurism that's going to go from amateurism more to paraprofessionalism. And I think that we're starting to see the beginning parts of that. Schools lining up to get this thing right and get this thing ready for whatever the next 5, 10, 15 years of college football looks like, while other schools are going to, I think, be left kind of holding their hands a little bit, just hoping to hang on. And it's just sort of interesting. I can feel it moving beneath our feet. What I want one comment as a corollary to that, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Someone, I don't remember who it was, I think it may have been on one of the CaneSports, Good Morning CaneSports or something. Somebody was talking about how at other schools, I think it may have actually been Matt and his Legion of Zoom, talking about the concept that at other schools, either we don't hear about this internal squabbling or this internal squabbling is not taking place. These are just schools that are blue blood schools like LSU, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, USC, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Penn State, Michigan State that have just said, you know what, we're going to be one of the top 20 schools that is just going to do whatever it takes to be in the top echelon of the sport no matter what, because that's where we've decided we want to be. That's where we've decided we're going to be. And Miami, I think, who has really benefited from not having to really work all that hard to be really good, unlike a lot of these schools, is squabbling with itself because people have been comfortable with that. Hey, we haven't had to work all that hard or spend all that much money, and we're still a top 5 program every damn year. Isn't this incredible? Yeah, it's phenomenal. Anyways, I'll see you at, for drinks at the Rusty Pelicans. Like, that's what it feels like. All of a sudden, it's like, no, that isn't the case anymore. You're getting left behind. And I think there's a lot of people in the university that see it, and there's a lot of other people in the university that either don't want to see it or do see it and say, you know what, it isn't worth our investment. Let's let the sport pass us by a little bit. Let's focus on academics, focus on the hospitals and the medical school, the law school. Let's focus on the other parts of the university. Let's ride the brand for as much revenue as possible, but we don't need to chase this anymore, or we don't need to chase it, period. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think it'll ever get to that point.
You don't think there's a contingency on the board that just doesn't really care anymore about this? They're like, guys,
no,
athletics, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No. Look, you're talking about a board. You got 66-plus guys. I mean, you're never going to get a consensus. No chance.
I mean, all right, so let's talk about Stuart Miller. When I was at school, he was the chair of the board. I don't know if he still is. The guy who runs Lennar. I mean, incredibly wealthy. He did the health park, where the garage was.
Yeah, he's not the chairman anymore, but he's very influential and very involved.
Yeah, so he's prickly, but in my experience, he tends to actually care about the university. He's done a pretty good job, in my humble opinion. Pretty sure he's a nutso sports guy, like pretty crazy about it. And, I mean, you think he's sitting there saying, hey, guys, I know Mario Cristobal's out there. I saw what happened with Brian Kelly. I saw what happened with Lincoln Riley and whatever else, et cetera, and then Mel Tucker and James Franklin and the next 5 that are going to do it. Never mind, guys. Let's just ride where we are and push this thing forward. I can't see that. I can't see that happening. Can you?
Yeah. I don't know where he would stand personally. My guess is somewhere in the middle. I know he likes to go to the games. He enjoys them. His family has also given an enormous amount of money to fund the medical side of the university, and that's probably where his biggest interest lies.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It feels to me like like you said, University of Miami has to decide what it wants to be. You said that, 6 months ago? Something like that? I don't know. 3, 4. I mean, football season feels like 4 years long, so I don't know how long ago it was. But you said that, and you said they have to decide who they want to be. Well, how's a 66-person board and a president, university president, who is disengaged from athletics, who's going to decide who they want to be? There's no way you're going to reach consensus, which you've said. So you end up with
but my understanding is the president now has a clear understanding of the importance of athletics, and I think they're moving in that direction, and I think they're probably going to have to, I'm not going to say overrule the board, but they're going to have to understand that they're not going to get a consensus, and the president's office is going to do what it has to do. Hey, let me let you run because I got a couple more guys that want to get on here before the show ends.
I appreciate it.
But thanks for the call, and give us a call next week.
Will do. Thanks, man.
Yep. Yeah, there's no way. You're not going to get a consensus on the board. So the president's going to have to put his big boy pants on and with his team and try to make something happen. Let's go to the 786. You're live on CaneSport Live.
Gary, so sorry I've been really busy this evening, so I just wanted to make sure I reached out and shared a few things. Number one, from what I have heard today, great show. It's everything, Gary.
Oh, hey, everything.
Sorry, this busy night. But anyway, I just wanted to share one thing with you. Whether the buyout clause is impacted by tomorrow's starting date, as you mentioned earlier, whether it's them waiting to see and that impact what Mario's doing at Oregon because they play Friday night, whether it's Lane Kiffin is using them pretty much to make sure he gets a more lucrative deal at Ole Miss, whatever it may be, it's all going to work out. It's all predicated on getting the right athletic director, and the longer that goes, the worse it gets. And it's unfortunate that the administration, even though you're making it clear that they have a true understanding of the critical importance of this football program, what it means in dollars and cents, long-term, short-term, and all those great things, the bottom line, Gary, is you still have people that are inept making decisions. And the blueprint that we've seen the last couple of weeks is a testament to that in terms of making critical decisions at critical junctures in time to ensure you don't lose what you do have. And it's ridiculous that it's gone this long. And I don't know if anybody really wants to keep waiting and waiting. It's pathetic.
You understand that if Mario's the top target, he's not available yet, right?
I just made that clear, but we're talking about the athletic director position first. It doesn't take this long.
They got delayed a little bit by Thanksgiving weekend. I think they're moving, and I think there's a decent chance it happens this week.
I mean, before Blake was let go, they had their short list. Gary, I've been doing this way too long. I'm an old guy and all that, but I know what's going on, and it's ridiculous that it's still taking this long. But
if it gets done in the next 3 days, it's not a big deal.
Gary, but here's the thing. You don't fire an AD without having your short list of people that you have a viable opportunity to get. That's another indictment on the ineptitude of leadership at this institution.
They had a short list.
No, Gary, a viable short list, you would have that person done by now. It's been. I just, again, this to me is
I know for a fact they had it.
People involved. Then why isn't it done?
Because it's not done yet. They're still working
if
through
they really you don't have it until you.
Let me explain to you how this stuff works. So a university goes in with a short list. They hire a search firm. They give the search firm the short list. The search firm's job is to bring them another group of candidates. So let's say they give them a short list of 4 candidates, and the search firm brings another 4 to the table. Now they have 8. They sit down, they discuss the 8, and then they whittle that down to maybe 2, 3, 4 on the outside. They do a final wave of interviews, and then they start making a decision. That's how it works.
Gary, I understand the process. I've been a consultant before with these processes locally, and I didn't take an opportunity about 3 weeks ago with something else because I don't want to go through this anymore. I'm just letting you know that you don't fire the guy unless you've talked to 3 reps and are they a go. You have to have your three choices. Are they a go?
All right, you're wrong.
And if you don't have that solidified, you don't go.
If what you're saying were true, everything, there wouldn't be search firms. You're saying
search firms, are
that
just
the whole thing should have been predisposed before they hired Blake. It wasn't.
That's a different conversation. Search firms do 2 things. They're for optics, number 1, and in state institutions, it's another form of accountability. That's what those are for, Gary. I don't want to get into all that, but I'm just letting you know that to me, my opinion, in my 34 years of doing all this stuff, this is an indictment on how poor the leadership of this institution is. The fact that you're reporting last week, and some others are reporting it too, because I believe what you're reporting, unlike others. I do believe that you've got awesome sources. I've always told you that. The fact that this guy potentially can still be the guy here, this guy who has no business being here, absolutely unconscionable to think that this can happen again. I mean, it's ridiculous, Gary.
Well, let's see where it ends.
About a fan base falling apart.
Let's see where it ends. Everything.
I'm tired.
Let's have this conversation next Tuesday night. Okay.
I will make sure next Tuesday night I'm free, and I'll call you in first.
Yeah, make sure you're free early. Let's have this conversation Tuesday night. All right, I got one more guy I want to get on tonight, so let me go to him. You call back next Tuesday. We'll have this conversation next Tuesday.
Be well, Gary. Be well.
All right, you too. I think we got to get to the finish line. Let's see what that looks like. Right now, let's go out to the 850 for the last call tonight. You're on CaneSport Live.
Gary.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? Dwayne.
Who's this?
101850.
What's up, man? Take us home.
Hey, I don't know why everybody getting so teed off and just let the process pay off. I mean, you got to go through his natural course. They fired Blake James. We're going to find a good AD eventually. And then regardless if the AD was in place last week or last month, we still can't deal anything with Mario until after the championship game.
Correct.
So we're still in the same spot. So why are you worried about why the AD ain't in place and this, that, and all this other stuff? It's got to take its time, and you got to wait
take its course. And if there's a willingness on both sides, which I think there is, a deal with Mario could be done in an hour.
Right. But it's not going to be done until after he plays that championship game.
Correct. And if he doesn't want to come and he wants to stay in Oregon, then they got to make a decision if they want to move on the lane or not. This isn't so complicated.
And it's still going to be at the same time frame, regardless if the AD was in place a whole month ago. It's still going to be under the same process.
Correct.
The same time frame. So everybody just needs to hold their horses and just let it play out. I'm, for one, glad that they're taking the time. At least they're trying to find the right candidate instead of rushing. So that's all I got, Gary. Enjoyed the show. You're doing a great job. And another thing, who would have fired Manny earlier and pay an extra $2 million? Might as well wait until it goes down.
Yeah, you need every penny you could get.
Right.
The price of Mario in the last 2 weeks has probably gone from $6 million a year to $8 million a year. You can't be throwing millions of dollars in the garbage can for no reason. All right, man. Thank you for being part of the show.
All right, Gary. Keep it going.
Give us a call next week. All right, I want to thank everybody that called in tonight. Great show. Tomorrow night we'll be back, the Lamar Thomas Show. It should be fun, as always. Got a really good guest lineup coming together for that one. So keep the faith, everybody. Let's see how this plays out as the days go by. If I see it getting alarming, I'll be the first to tell you. So far, I like what I'm seeing. Until next week, have a great night, everybody.